Welcome to another episode of 90 Minutes Africa. My name is Rudolph Okonkwo. It's 12:30 p.m. in New York City, 5:30 p.m. in Nigeria. Wherever you're joining us, welcome. Our guest today does not need an introduction. So we decided to present a profile. Watch.
The last of his generation of activists still holding the torch. Many of his contemporaries have abandoned the cause of the people and themselves into the ranks of the oppressors or joined their band of cheerleaders. Omoyele Sowore has stood steadfastly by his conviction over the years. From his time as a student activist to the present, he has focused on the positive transformation of Nigeria.
I've been part of every democratic development in Nigeria, from the period of June 12th to the period where we eventually transitioned from military rule to democratic rule, or whatever you want to call it.
Born on February 16, 1971, in the small village of Kiribo, deep in the mangroves of the oil-rich Niger Delta, Sowore's resolve was sealed at a very young age. At 12, he was already fishing in the dangerous waters of Kiribo to contribute to his family's upkeep. He gained admission into the prestigious University of Lagos in 1989, where he studied geography and regional planning. As a result of his activism, he was rusticated twice and spent 6 years studying an otherwise 4-year course. Between 1992 and 1994, he was the indefatigable president of the University of Lagos Students' Union. As commander of the Aluta forces, Sowore championed the causes of anti-cultism and anti-corruption advocacies in the institution. He also holds a master's degree in public administration from Columbia University, USA. Those were the heydays of military rule in Nigeria. Omoyele Sowore's political human rights activism was forged in the furnace of anti-military and pro-democracy struggles, which eventually birthed today's democratic era. As president of the Congress of Progressive Youths, Sowore mobilized thousands of Nigerian youths to protest against the illegal annulment of the June 12, 1993 election won by the late Chief MKO Abiola. He was so committed to the struggle against the military that at just 21 years old, he was already standing by the right-hand side of the legendary Chief MKO Abiola, matching side by side in the struggle to reclaim the mandate of the philanthropist and business mogul.
The kind of relationship you have now with the president?
President Babangida is a friend. Just look at the house, take a snapshot of all the pictures in the house.
While many current political leaders in Nigeria were either collaborating with the military or stayed silent in the face of their tyranny, the young Sowore was on the barricade fighting for the end of military rule and the enthronement of democratic politics in Nigeria.
Some of the characters today, some of the players in our political arena today were hiding under their bed. I was fighting for the democracy that we have today.
Sowore has been arrested several times and tortured by the Nigerian state for protesting against the anti-people policies of various governments. In 1989, as a fresh undergraduate, he participated in a massive student demonstration against the conditions of a $120 million IMF loan for Nigeria to build an oil pipeline. The loan conditions include a requirement for the country to reduce the number of universities from 28 to 5. In 1992, Omoyele Sowore led over 5,000 Nigerian students to protest against the military government. The police opened fire on young protesters and murdered 7 protesters in cold blood. Sowore was arrested and tortured. He was a crucial participant in the pro-democracy movement that engulfed the country after the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election. His activities resulted in several arrests, detention, and torture by state officials. Sowore left for the United States of America in 1999. While there, he bagged a master's degree in public administration from Columbia University. From the US, he watched the events in Nigeria unfold as the politicians who replaced the military in 1999 continued to plunder the nation's resources, plunging the people deeper into poverty. Sowore was dismayed by how the otherwise vibrant Nigeria had become badly compromised in the democratic era, thus failing to hold leaders accountable. To correct this anomaly, he founded Sahara Reporters, a media outfit dedicated to exposing high corruption in society, in 2006.
That was why in 2006, I started Sahara Reporters as a citizens media platform. And the idea is very simple, is to use everybody who is willing.
Through Sahara Reporters, Sowore exposed the corrupt cabal that held the country to ransom during the illness of late President Umaru Yar'Adua. His expose helped increase the call for the Vice President, Goodluck Jonathan, to become acting president. Since its inception, Sahara Reporters has consistently held leaders accountable. The credit for opening the space for citizens' journalism in Nigeria no doubt belongs to Omoyele Sowore. Through Sahara Reporters, the corruption in the Nigerian government was exposed to its bare bones. Sowore is the convener of the Number Revolution Now movement, which has been championing protests calling for a revolution in Nigeria since 2019.
We are struggling for a new independence, and it is part of the continuation of what we started in 2019 with Revolution Now, because we believe that only revolution can save this country. Revolution now!
In August 2019, Sowore was arrested by operatives of the Department of State Security (DSS) ahead of the planned nationwide Revolution Now protest. He was later charged with conspiracy to commit treason and insulting President Muhammadu Buhari. In December 2021, a federal high court in Abuja ordered the DSS to pay Sowore 2 million naira for the unlawful seizure of his phone during the 2019 arrest. Following his declaration to run for president in the 2019 general election, Sowore formed the African Action Congress, AAC, in August 2018. He desired to take his activism from the streets into the office of the president.
You can stay active as an activist if you decide to limit how far you want things to change. But you can decide to be president if you want to take activism to the office of the president. And we've seen that happen both in South Africa and also in the US.
Though he has not succeeded in becoming the president of Nigeria, he is determined to continue in the struggle to wrestle Nigeria from the hands of the political class who have pillaged the nation since independence. Sowore is a patriotic Nigerian who has always demonstrated his love and loyalty to the nation. Though he had ample opportunities to acquire citizenship in the United States of America, he has chosen to cling to the green passport of his beloved fatherland. He believes that the struggle for a new independence for Nigeria must be won.
We are struggling for a new independence, and it is part of the continuation of what we started in 2019 with Revolution Now, because we believe that only revolution can save this country. Revolution now!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Omoyele Sowore. Sowore, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's nice to have you, and knowing that you just came into the country, I understand that you might be under stress, but that's what it means to be a politician, to be seeking to be president. Thank you so much for coming.
You just call me a politician.
It sounded weird, but you're a politician.
You're going to hear from my lawyers, right?
Now, I know you don't have a lot of time for us. Typically, we are relaxed, we go slowly, but we have to get into the conversation as quickly as possible. Yesterday, there was a big event in Nigeria. They celebrated General Gowon's 90th birthday. I didn't see your message of goodwill to Gowon. Did you or did you not?
You know, I met him for the first time at someone's birthday event in Abuja. It must have been a year ago, and the guy who was sitting there, I was put on the high table, so to speak. Not high table, but very close to the front. And the guys who were around me, everybody was standing up to greet him, the lineup. And when all of them came back, I didn't go to greet him. They were shocked. The guy asked me, "Do you know who is there?" I said, "Of course I know." He said, "That's Gowon." And you did not go to. I said, "For what?" These are the people who turned Nigeria into what it is today. I just can't deal with it. I can't deal with the fact that Nigerians continuously glorify the people that destroyed the country by paying obeisance to them, genuflecting on the altar of their fallen god. So I never went to see him, and he glanced in my direction for a while. I think he's trying to figure out who I was. So my thing is that I've not met a lot of these former head of states before. I've never met Obasanjo before in person. Never met. I met Abdul Salam during the presidential campaign because he was the person who set up the Afoni uh, peace committee. He's the chairman, so he was limping on one leg. When he got to me, it's like, oh, and then there was a meeting where I confronted him, and he was asking that, if you win election, it looks like all of us will have to leave the country. I said that would be your choice. So I'm not saying it uh, to prove anything, but I just don't have I don't have respect for all these guys. I don't see any reason why anybody for that matter should do so, especially considering that look at the country they gave you. Look at the country they handed over to you. But what is interesting, which I always question, is how bad people live long in Nigeria and good people don't. Like one is 90, Babangida is like 80 something, Obasanjo is 80 something. All the bad people that ruin Nigeria, they live long, but Nigerians that they've ruled over, the average expectancy life span is like 47, 55 now. Yeah, yeah. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I think you muted your mic somehow.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
Talking about people who lived long and people who died young. Today is also the anniversary of the death of Delegiwa.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Babangida. That was when Babangida was the head of state. Can you briefly give us your assessment of the media from the point that Delegiwa was alive, operated, and died to where we are now, what it is now?
I think generally Deligua was who everybody wanted to become in the print media space, especially the magazine format. And nobody quite became a Deligua, not even his friends and associates who were with him became a Deligua. By the way, one of them, Dan Agbese, I think, was an MC at Gwan's event, and he made some outlandish statements that were even incorrect. So but the media landscape has changed. We have to admit that it's not the media that Deligua left behind in 1986 that is still there now. It's gotten worse, interestingly, and it is because the gatekeepers who are still within the print who are now also trying to uh, naturalize towards online and digital media. Still doing, they're doing worse things. They're killing stories. They're mostly doing PR now for the states. If you get a call, this event, there's any big stories that's troubling the states today in Nigeria, and anybody calls you about it, I'm referring to Sahara reporters now because they still call me regarding Sahara stories. It's likely to be a journalist who is trying to see if he can help them kill a story. It's so sad. So journalism is not what it used to be, and I'm sure Delegawa was feeling really bad wherever if there's life after death. But like they say, he will be turning his grave to look back and see what the format left behind have become. But at the same token, I think journalism, media, I don't call it journalism, media has expanded beyond what he could have ever imagined. It has become more instantaneous reporting. It has become, it has gone even in the direction of more personal reporting now than it used to be. Uh, Mainstream organized media where people roll up their sleeves and start backing at reporters within the newsroom. The newsroom is gone as we know it.
You mentioned Dan Abase. He in the event yesterday, he said he compared Gowon to George Washington.
Because he didn't know who George Washington was.
And most of the media carried the story that way. Nobody pointed out that he wasn't.
I think he was trying. I think he was trying to. I don't think It's part of what I said is, some of the. I think media was big deal during our own time because there was no way to fast check also stories. So if anybody wrote an article, whether he made mistakes or he lied, there's no way to find out, And the media had control of responses, but they no longer have that thing. That's why you and I could find out, minutes after he said that no, we're not talking about George Washington here. I think he was trying to refer to Abraham Lincoln, I suspect. But that is why they are really now on the ground. Is because you can't get away with such mistakes anymore, not nowadays. But
Now,
look at this used to be the chieftains of the media industry in Nigeria. Yeah.
P2B also got in trouble with the Obedience, who attacked him for wishing Gowon a happy birthday. I don't know what do you think about that? The reaction of P2B's supporters to the fact that he sent a great birthday greeting to Gowon.
I don't think Peter Obi's supporters are fair to him. They're trying to make Peter Obi into a Che Guevara, as if they just discovered that he's one of them. And that's been my issue with the guys who call themselves obedience. It's like, where do you think Peter Obi came from? He came from, this is his family, these are his people, And he must be shocked that you guys are crying over it. So they work together. These are his people. These are his brothers, his uncles. He refers to Tinubu as his uncle. So I think the biggest problem the obedience movement is having is that they have this product they are trying to package and sell to the public. And when each time people open it, they discover it's fake. And then they start kicking themselves in the groin. But this is nothing new to me. I knew Peter Obi a long time ago. So, but like I said, I think he must be shocked that you guys are like wondering that he's greeting one of his grandfathers. That's what they do. If you went to Obasanjo and you're not complaining, why are you complaining about greeting Gowon?
All right, we're going to get into so many things like Yoruba Nation, agitation, and everything. But first, I want to find out the state of things, with today is also the NSAS, the Lekki Massacre anniversary. And I know you recently led a demonstration, the Fearless in October demonstration. And after that demonstration, your friend, Deji, said that he will never come out again to protest unless there are 1 million people on the street. What do you make of that?
Well, Deji's somebody who like to say outrageous things. So that's his style, I think, But you'll be surprised to see him again at another protest. He won't explain why he said, but I think you have to take it from figure of speech. He's just figuratively saying, look, I'm tired of protesting when people who complain all the time that they need the country to change don't want to come out and protest. I think that's what he said. I don't think the G. Who's going to do the census of whether a protest has 1 million people or not? So I think he's just saying that figuratively. But I'm not asking why he said that. But I've read so many things that he said on his page that I wonder what is happening at that time. So
You don't think it's frustration with how things are going? The fact that
I don't think anybody who understands the struggle for liberation will get frustrated after one protest. No, I don't think so. I think you have to understand contextually that these things take a long time and it's a marathon, and it may not happen exactly as you expect them to be. And when they don't happen like that, you don't just say things that say, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." I don't think it's frustration. I think he's speaking to complacency of young people in particular who come online, and I think sometimes he's responding to some of the people who comment and say, "Oh, he's doing this for money and popularity and fame and all that."
Now,
So
during the end bad governance protests, I think you were here in America, and people were writing on your wall. You are here pushing people to demonstrate, come back home. And you went back in October and was part of this demonstration that happened. And it wasn't as big as you would have expected then. What do you think about the Nigerian people as a result of these experiences?
I was responding to Deji's position and not protesting if there are no one. I don't go to a protest expecting 100 million people. I just do what I have to do, knowing that each time there's a protest, there's an opportunity to learn, and there's consciousness, there's an opportunity for engagement. And we'll definitely one day get to where we expect to, as long as you have a goal and you get there. You also have to understand that by that October 1st, when I arrived in Nigeria, over 700 people were in detention. And people were like, how do they get out? So in fact, my first week of arrival, we spent time in Abuja trying to get people out of detention and, getting people to arrange bail and meeting bail conditions. So there was some kind of fatigue. It's just like you had to deal with NSAS. Not many people, all the celebrities that you used to know who made money, fame, who made movies, made music out of NSAS. None of them even remember today. It's just like bring back our girls. The girls are still in captivity, but all the people that asked you to bring them back have forgotten about them, including PDD, by the way. Yeah, PDD was one of the people who did bring back our girls. So.
Wow, I forgot that he was. Yeah. Now, so in general, do you think there is this feeling under Tinubu? Let me play what Buba said. Probably
I have nothing new to say.
People are hungry.
Let them die.
Let them die.
It's their fault.
It's their fault.
I'm supporting Tinubu 100%.
Yeah, I'm supporting Tinubu 100%.
100%.
I'm supporting Tinubu 100% to deal with Nigerians.
People like you. So that when
people like you,
election comes,
so that when next election comes,
when people bring money, you
when people bring money,
you do your conscience.
Or you do your conscience.
Is there a lot of people in Nigeria who are feeling this way, that let them suffer because they voted for this man or they supported this man?
So you have to understand that a lot of people did not vote for Tinubu. They did not even pretend to have an election. And this is what I always say. So how do you go and blame somebody who wanted to go and vote on election day, saw thugs outside their house, they did not even bother? Or the people that voted for another candidate and the votes were stolen or outrightly not counted? So how do you now start victim blaming? It's a problem I have with the likes of Buba Galadima. Is like, if his candidate had won, would he have done differently? Was Buba not Buhari's right-hand man for many years before they fell apart? So that he has some money to take care of himself is not the reason to blame millions of people. You have to look at the stats. There are 250 million people in Nigeria. Only 20 million of them, or 22 million of them, voted in the presidential election. So there are only 82 million Nigerians with voters' cards. So how do you blame the children who haven't reached the age of voting, universal adult suffrage? What about the elders? The people who did not even bother to register to vote, or those who registered to vote who didn't get their voters' cards. It's so complicated and convoluted that somebody cannot just look at it on the surface and say, oh, let all of them die. The children that were born after Tinubu became president, did they vote for him? And those are the populations that suffer the most, the weak and vulnerable, because they're still very young. So you can't just outrightly say let them go and die. If anybody should die, right, for voting for Tinubu, only 50 million people will die. I mean, is it 9 million? So only 9 million people will die. So you still have 200 and something million people alive.
So when you hear the World Bank say things like that Nigeria must continue the reforms of Tinubu for another 15 years, if they are ever going to get out of this situation, poverty and suffering, what do you make of it?
You know, I attended Columbia University here in New York. And before then, I used to be against the World Bank and IMF, which I have told you I refer to the IMF as a international monetary fraud, of some of the most fraudulent organizations running down the life of Africans or third world countries. But where I started to really understand what they do is some of my classmates who were heading to work at the World Bank. And I'm like, we're sitting in the same class with these guys. You know, when I graduated, I had a job just managing refugees. They became what they call it, country directors of the World Bank. Some of them I am sure now. Most of those guys don't know Jack. Some of them will come and ask you in class, where is Nigeria located? Show me on the map, show me on the map. You know, but the next moment, they're going to be World Bank directors, you know, and they're going to be World Bank, they're going to be calling the shots, you know, telling you how to spend your money and all that. But what is important is that they all don't understand how the world works, but they don't care how the world works. It's not their business. For an average World Bank director, he's doing his job. He's getting the social promotion he needs to get to become, you know, the big person. So, and they don't care. Their primary purpose is to prepare in Nigeria 200 million. They see the numbers, and how can we sell stuff to them? How can we kill their industries? You know, kill their capacity to run their own, have an economic life, so that our own economy can become the dominant economy. We'll be shipping them stuff that we don't need, used clothes, used cars. Because if they start making cars, there's a possibility that they'll be making good cars and they will compete with us, you know. And we want to sell them wheat through the WTO. Even though they are making their own wheat, there's an obligation, for instance, for Nigeria to buy wheat from the US. And the US says don't subsidize farmers in Nigeria. But the US is the biggest subsidizer of farmers growing wheat in the US. So this is the sort of things that makes people win the Nobel Prize for economics. But you must have been saying this for 30 years, like Ashimologo, then that just won. And you must also be an American for you to win such a such a prize. So that's the problem, is that the World Bank did not come to save the world. Quote me. Especially, they did not come to save the third world. So that's what you must understand about the World Bank. They are not here to save the world. So anybody who is expecting the World Bank to somehow wake up one day and give you a fantastic economic system that enables you to take control of your destiny, economic destiny, the person is just deceiving him or herself. And the more illegitimate the leaders are, the more control they have over them. You know, that's why they're also involved in ensuring that puppets win elections on the continent of Africa. Because they understand that if someone who understands the workings of the World Bank, the characters who are recruited there from my Columbia University, Stanford, and other places, you won't allow them to enter your office. If I'm president of Nigeria, the World Bank director cannot see me. I'm saying it. You will have to explain why you want to see me. And it has to be that my own World Bank director from Nigeria can see the president of the US. You know, you see the imbalance. The ambassador of Nigeria to the US sees the president of US one time to deliver a letter and take a picture, which is less than 30 megaseconds. But the ambassador of the US to Nigeria can just wake up and call a press conference and be talking about elections, polio, water. He can travel anywhere. Imagine if the ambassador of Nigeria wakes up now and said, I don't trust the US election is going to be free and fair because of Elon Musk. He will not get home from where he made that statement. He will be packaged and sent on the next available flight. But the US ambassador can say whatever they want. They can walk into the president of Nigeria at any time they want because he says they're puppets of the West.
What you said is interesting because in Kenya, during the election I went to, the ambassador, US ambassador to Kenya, called the candidates to the embassy to tell them that they have to calm down, and they all went. Yeah. But can you, I mean, if you don't have the power...
Let me tell you, the peace committee that is set up to talk to presidential candidates is practically run by the European Union. In fact, one of the most important speeches there must be given by this European Union lady. And he'll just say, hey, you guys behave yourself during the election. We're serious. Behave yourself. We want peace. You know. So.
But what will a country like Nigeria without that diplomatic, how do you build the diplomatic power, you know, to be able to resist the pressure if you are not one of them? First of all,
you can't build diplomatic power by itself. You have to have economic power first. You understand? Your people must be doing well. You must have the capacity, which is not rocket science, because India is there right now. You know that the US can't even call the bluff of Brazil. They can't even call the bluff of Venezuela as they can in Nigeria. You know, and it's because these people develop their own economic power up to a point where they can say to them, look, you can take your fertilizer away. We can feed our people. We can make fertilizer. Well, you can take your used planes away. We have our own Embraer jets that is doing well in the international market. You can take your world agricultural food away or genetically modified food away. You can take your, you can take away a lot of things that just debase countries, and then we can make our own, or we can find a way. Then you must also be a regional power, because where Nigeria had the capacity to just not be Nigeria, but to be a regional African power, like South Africa. South Africa was able to take Israel to the International Criminal Court because it's South Africa. Because at the end of the day, the electricity grid doesn't depend on the US. You get my point? They don't need US to bring food. I met somebody I think 2 years ago in Nigeria, who was a US official, who was saying that they don't know what's wrong with South Africans. They don't come and collect visa like Nigerians. And she was also telling me that at that point, that Nigeria already had appointments for visas till 2025. Now they have up to 2026 or 2027. So if you go apply for visa in Nigeria now, they give you an appointment in 2026. So when you go there, they say, but the letter of your invitation has expired now. What are you still going to do there? So why we treat it like that is because we have nothing. We've destroyed everything that we've had, destroyed by the puppets they put in place, especially the military dictators that they supported over these years.
There was a picture of you. I wanted to share it on a newspaper, old newspaper, where you were saying that we buried the military.
Yeah.
I don't have it handy here, but there is also something that we saw in Nigeria this week. That was last week, where people were shouting, telling the military to come and take over the government, that they were tired. When you see something like that, being that you were there during the fight to get the military out, what do you think?
So, well, I made a statement during Abiola's burial, and because I was one of the people who made it impossible for the military to attend his burial. Also, the foreign dignitaries that were at the airport, we didn't let them in, including Tambo Mbeki, who was president of South Africa. So we were very certain at that time that we're ending the military era as we know it. But in 1999, it's the same military guys that changed their uniform and came. The guy who won Obasanjo was the person they chose. So, and we are seeing more and more in-depth penetration of military culture in Nigeria. Even traffic now in Nigeria is handled by traffic control is handled by military. Military is involved in law enforcement. Military is involved in helping you to eject tenants, carrying out court orders. It's unbelievable. It seems like Nigeria is running a diarchy. But my suspicion is that what has been happening around the West African sub-region with those Boy Scouts in power and how well they are doing on TikTok is emboldening the Nigerian military to feel like maybe if we can get acceptance, because the military in Nigeria understand that without people accepting them.
Let's go! We want Nigeria army to take over. We want Nigeria army to take over Nigeria. I don't know why they are afraid. Why they are afraid, we don't know. We want Nigeria army to take over Nigeria. We want.
So I've seen this video, but what I want to say briefly is that the people who are asking for military rule in Nigeria don't know the Nigerian military. They deploy enough. There's no corruption that's happening in Nigeria today, insecurity that's happening in Nigeria today. There's no election rigging that happened in Nigeria without the military being the foremost person involved. So, if in fact, if military rule today, the first likely victims of military incursion are those who are shouting, "We want the military to take over." They'll be the first person they will waste. They don't know the Nigerian military. We know that. We know them from days of our pro-democracy days, and I even know them better now. And I suspect, and this is important, I suspect that the military was behind this thing, because the reason I felt so is that it went viral, number one, but it's not recent. This was actually August that this was happening, and this was Benin City, but it was somehow couched as something that happened recently in Ibadan. But this is not only this that I saw during the August protests. There were also a lot of military guys who were acting nice, addressing people, reminding them that they have human rights during the August days of rage. And then the flags, it's suspicious that suddenly the Russian flags, which some people have described as military flags anyway. There's also a particular military flag in Nigeria. There's a combination of all the colors that also looks like a Russian flag. So don't be surprised that the military might be wanting to have a pork belly again of Nigerian political system. But I dare say that whomever asks the military to come back is not wishing themselves well, because every civilian atrocity you are seeing today in Nigeria is first and foremost carried out with the help of military, election rigging, corruption, smuggling, extrajudicial killings. You see how they went and wiped out villages in Delta states recently. They're the ones who carried out the killing at Lekki toll gates that we're talking about today. So if you want that to return full scale, I just wish you good luck.
Let me ask you, where is President Bola Tinubu today? Do we know?
I heard he came back to Nigeria yesterday, but the question we asked is which Tinubu came back, I don't know. It's supposed to have returned yesterday to Abuja, but who cares?
Does it not matter that we don't know where he went to, where he was staying, and are there no security implications? Why is it that the elite are now discussing this?
If there are security implications, I don't think they would do it. I think they've reached a point where they don't care about what Nigerians say, and they are comfortable with the way people respond, because they know the response will also be half-hearted, and they know that Nigerians love and know how to move on. So after a while, something else will happen, something completely irrelevant will dominate national discourse, and people just move on, because he was away for 17 days. He returned. We just saw some pictures, and some apparitional pictures of his brand new jet arriving, and then he didn't say anything. I mean, in any serious country, the president who's been gone for 17 days, whether it's for vacation or medical, will say, hey, how's this? How I was feeling. I feel refreshed and back to work. Even if you want to lie to the people, but nothing like that has happened. I don't think they care really.
All right. A lot of people are in the studio. I know you have just 90 minutes for us, so we have about 40 minutes left. So I'll ask you two more questions and we get to our viewers. They are more important than I am. So let me ask you about this Yoruba Nation agitation. Sunday Igboho was in the UK presenting a petition or something to the UK's Prime Minister's office. What do you make of that?
I don't make anything of it, honestly. It's just, I think it's just like if you wake up one day, you go to the White House and you tell the gate man there, please help me present this letter to the president of the US when he resumes office, and then you leave. I won't make anything of it. I also think that and if anybody wants Yoruba nation, the fight is in Nigeria, not in the UK. I mean, it sounds to me like some people just felt like everybody is bored. Let's ginger everybody up again and just go to number 10 Downing Street and ask somebody to open the door slightly. And then we take a picture in front of the place. And but hey, I often say that we don't know which of these strategies to make it happen because there's just no one way through which.
But as a student of history, do you think that if you are looking for independence from Nigeria, that the proper place to go is to go to the United Kingdom, the people that...
Maybe they looked at it and said to themselves, Nigeria got independence from the UK anyways. So let the people who made Nigeria make it for us. Maybe that's the idea behind it. They could their own symbolic way of saying, look, come and undo or untie what you tied.
So if there's Yoruba nation, will you be part of the nation or will you be a part of another nation? Will you be kicked out of?
If there's Yoruba nation, I will have to go and do DNA to fit somewhere. So I'm one of the people who will have nowhere to go for a while until we just find somebody to. Maybe I'll just go join Biafra because I have a lot of friends there.
Yeah, I'm talking about Biafra. Nnamdi Kanu, yes. The last time, no, that wasn't the last time I saw you, but I saw you before Nnamdi Kanu was arrested. You were with him in New York here, and
yeah, you were there after I left. So don't hide it.
So he's been going through a lot since he went to Nigeria, and people are comparing Nnamdi Kanu with Sunday Igboho and your own case, and they're saying that they came out and said they don't have any case against against Sunday Igboho, and then in your own case it was settled. Why is it that Nnamdi Kanu's case is now being settled politically?
Without sounding patronizing, Nigeria has an Igbo problem. So it's a multi-generational issue. It's like when a father is dying and they are not Igbo, they will tell their son, please, I have problem with Igbo people, continue from there. Because that's the only way I can explain it. And I understand it came from the Civil War. And so because I was surprised that Tinubu would even take Nnamdi Kanu's case, more than 2 days after he came into office. I expected that just as he was declaring against subsidy, he would just say, look, for national cohesion and whatever lie you want to tell, we're going to let this man go for now and figure out how to resolve our differences. But the fact that they even go worse shows that it's just like there's a secret file somewhere that said, look, don't open, just continue where we start. But beyond that, I also know that there are some Igbo elites who are complicit in it, because there was a time they were having conversation about it and they said, no, please, let's have election first. And then after the election, the devil intervened more. But the most important thing is not to even reduce it to that alone, is that there is something about the Nigerian state and the Nigerian nation and how they see Biafrans. And I think it came from the Biafran War. Maybe because people like us didn't participate in the war. That's the reason we feel this way. Because I was born in 1971. I cannot carry, I don't have a multi-generational costs, or conspiracy against Igbos. But I genuinely, and I've said it several times, and I'm not saying it's based on what I know. There's no, I mean, even the Supreme Court was this shy of saying, look, this guy did nothing, he broke his bail. In fact, I told Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers that they should not reapply for bail because the Supreme Court has reinstated the bail practically from what they said. But they went and reapplied, and and there's no way, and I'm saying it, there's no way Nnamdi Kanu is going to get justice from a federal high court, a court of appeal, or Supreme Court. It's impossible, except if the state decides that, because Nnamdi Kanu is the official prisoner of whomever is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So so I know what it means to be, they have to go to the president every morning and report that you're still alive, or you're eating, or you are on hunger strike. So, but at this time, he's the official prisoner of the president. And anything that is official to the president doesn't let go. Yeah.
All right. A few more questions. One is about the media. I want to get back to the media because now we have people like Very Dark Man. I know you famously said that Lindy Keji will be employing some journalists in years to come. It appears as if people like
it happened.
Yeah.
A lot of journalists started writing for Linda Keji for a fee. I stood in that, I think, 2014 or so, yeah.
So there was this Very Dark Man, and now he's involved in certain things, including with Falano and the story of Bobrisky. So when you see these things, the media space, the way it operates now, what do you make of it? What do you think is going on? People say you started it.
No, I didn't start this version of media, but I also must have the humility to recognize that things will keep evolving. We're seeing more and more of individualistic media. So you get the best news now from individuals as opposed to media. As opposed to media companies. And with artificial intelligence, it's going to get worse. We are going to move from individuals to unknown entities who just read news to you in your sleep and you wake up, and that's all you know. You won't even know where it came from, because it's about format and content. But I don't see it. I don't see what is happening with what they've described now, Bobrisky, Very Dark Man, as media as much as it is. I think Nigerians have reached a point where they have suffered so much. They need a little bit of entertainment in their life, like a little bit of dose of it all the time, And if you look at it, even the churches have bought into this. Now, most of the big churches must bring comedians in so that they can keep their members entertained. Jesus is not enough anymore to entertain, and mosques are doing it. They have to mix it up because Nigerians are constantly, and I think it's because it's a generational thing, because there's a new generation that I haven't seen so much, and who also like officially don't have parents. And you've never heard this before, but this new generation of Nigerians a lot of them don't have parents. Their parents are either dead. Yes, they're either dead, have no jobs, don't have that parental, authority as we used to have. So they are the ones doing the parenting. So they have to look for entertainment. They have to invent and reinvent everything. So I see that from the point of where Very Dark Man is. It's like, it's the entertainer they want at this time, and they don't mind if he's a priest, if he has a little bit of priesthood, a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of mystery, and it's also good that he doesn't look like regular people. So he's got like it's got like dreadlocks. He's buffy. So there's something about him that a little bit of what everybody, the people who follow him want. But I think then there's also a dimension of distraction to it that plays into where Nigeria, where sometimes people want Nigeria to be, because sometimes people just don't want to take Nigeria too serious or take things too serious about Nigeria anymore. So yeah.
In our days at Sahara TV, we started this challenging of pastors, and now things have gotten to the point where we have pastors apologizing for certain things they used to abuse us for. So when you look at the transformation of the the church, and of course we also have many of them now who are very rich, and when they do birthdays, it appears as if it was a Hollywood event. And so, what do you make of the transformation and the fact that people are now openly criticizing them and challenging them when they say things?
Well, you to blame yourself for it. You started it. I think one of the things we must appreciate about ourselves in the days of Sahara is like we're so innovative that we saw the future. There was some clairvoyance. I was telling you 3 days ago or so when I spoke to you that you one day you wrote a satire that the Pope will retire, and I remember everybody said you're going to die that evening. The Catholics. Somebody even recommended that they should come and nuke Sahara Reporter's office, and it came to pass. We didn't only challenge Christians, we also challenged Muslims. In fact, Boko Haram had to do a video regarding Sahara because we also challenged and said that they're not Muslims, that these guys are just, or whatever it is we said at that time that got them pissed off. So I think that the nemesis of not Christendom, but the kind of Christianity they're practicing in Nigeria has come, and I think it's social media. I think social media is the nemesis of, because now people can actually watch a miracle and tell that it's a lie, you know. And by the way, I've never met a person in Nigeria who was healed by miracle. And I'm saying, I'm just saying, So most of the miracles you see online, in those churches, they make them up. That's the truth, and that's what we were saying in Sahara in those days where they were abusing us. And we did a lot of investigation about pastors, their lifestyles, and they all came to pass. Some of them were still in court. I'm still in court with some of the pastors, even though their lives have expired. They're still holding on to. But what I feel bad about it is to find millions of people, in some cases, pack themselves in a church, be lied to week in, week out, and they still go back. I can't explain that, but somebody has told me that it is for a reason and one reason only, that the pastors or the priests on all sides are selling hope, which is in short supply in Nigeria, and that's what people buy when they don't have substance to hold on to. It's just, you can imagine somebody saying amen to, somebody praying in the church that everybody, by next year you will have Rolls Royce, and everybody will say amen, and there will be 300,000 people in the church, and they make only 30 Rolls Royces for Africa every year. So how's it gonna happen?
The one I find fascinating is end of year church service. Nobody will die in your family in the name of Jesus, and everybody will say amen. I'm thinking, if 1 million people say that and nobody dies in Nigeria,
it's hope, because everybody's hoping that the person who died did not come to church. So it's the person who didn't come to church. I mean, look at those prayers also of fire, burning people. They ask fire. The church is supposed to sell hope. They're supposed to sell salvation, healing. But at the end of the day, all the prayers that are said on Sunday is capable of burning down the whole city. It's like fire, let fire burn this place. They will even in their prayers reintroduce the diseases that they said. They will say, if anybody is looking at you in a certain way, let the person be struck down by thunder. But Turner is supposed to be antichrist.
But I saw you in church too when you were campaigning. Why did you go? What did you?
Which church did you see me?
I saw you in many places, mosque, church.
Yes, because I didn't go to church to pray. So in fact, one of the reasons why they kicked me out of the churches before the campaign ended was that I refused to allow the priest to put their hands on my head. So they always had this agreement that I would kneel down and they'll place their hand, and I said no. So by the time we applied to go to big churches to campaign, they just said Sowore is antichrist. We heard he doesn't allow touching of his head. So because I told one big pastor, I said, you want to touch my head? What exactly is on my head that you need to shake? Is it my brain? He said, no, it's anointing. I said, who told you I don't have anointing? I can buy Goya oil now and just pour it over my head like your own. If I asked to put my hand on your head, how would you feel? He said, no, no, it's Jesus has already put his hand, all those kind of lies. And I think this is the reason why in 2023 I didn't go to churches and I don't go to palaces anymore. I went to palaces, my story about going to the palace of the Ooni of Ife when it asked me to kneel, prostrate first. And I told them, prostrate for what? Do you need to address yourself as Ooni of? Did you need my prostration? If people don't want to prostrate, let them be. If they want, say, oh, that's the palace, and there are some gods. I said, no, I don't prostrate. In the first place, you kept me here for 3 hours. So, I'm meeting with the gods. I said, me too. I have meetings with the gods when I leave this place. So after that, no churches, no, and I mean it. Anything that will save Nigeria in the future, you have to completely divorce religion from politics. I don't have a problem with religion. I just no longer practice religion. And I've said this openly. I don't think that religion is the way to save us, right? Religion has created even more problem for us than if we didn't have religion at all. And a lot of people will say that Sowore said this is the reason he can't win election. They can never vote for him. Yes, keep voting for the people who are lying to you in the name of whomever they lied to you. Good luck. But you know how your country looks with the people who have been. There are over 11,000 offices in Nigeria, right? So that we vote into office, from president to councillor. I've never met any one of them, except in our party. Even our party people, who doesn't practice religion? And you're wondering, 11,000 people, they swear by the Bible, they swear by Quran, but Nigeria is the most godless place, one of the most godless places on earth. When I say godless, I mean it literally, where people are actually doing something that is completely opposite of what they preach or what they tell you. They are not people who are afraid of God. They have captured God in Nigeria. The religious people, they have been able to get their gods and put the God inside a bottle and cock it.
What about traditional religion?
Anymore. God is never upset against murder, against stealing, against adultery. All those sins that they told us in the Bible that will make life miserable for you. God, the Nigerian God, the the designer God in Nigeria doesn't get upset anymore. It's just like very cool with everybody as long as you have money.
What about traditional religion? There was a video of you walking into court with traditional or somebody pretending to be one. I think was it?
I'm glad you said pretending to be one. So it's the same way I see churches. So that I will explain quickly. So I was going to that was the period they broke my nose. The police broke my nose, and the judge who was assigned to the case, now promoted to the High Court, kept me in detention for 11 days, just over what they call a misdemeanor here. What is a misdemeanor? Conduct likely to cause public, to breach public peace, because they arrested us at a protest in I think it was the eve of 2021, going to 2022. Yes. So each time we go to court, you just be adjourning the case. So one day, some guys followed me, they're pastors. she drove them out. Said the court is too congested. Another time, there was a Muslim guy who followed us, drove him out. So we sat down one day and said, maybe we want to try something new. What I actually wanted to do wasn't the guy we took. I was arranging with someone in Adamawa because I was tired of going to court and with lawyers. I know the courts have nothing to offer you when it comes to justice. So we were arranging with the guy in Adama to bring bees to Abuja and go to court with bees. But the guy got to a point and realized that he realized who we were and just bailed on us. So whatever. So that was why we started thinking like, why don't we just have someone dress up, you know, like a traditionalist, since they have driven pastors and imams out on some trips. That was what happened. But it became very exciting when we got, because it was period of COVID, and to get into the court you have to wear masks. So I had my mask on. Of course, we can't put a mask on a babalawo now because we're claiming to be gods, right? Uh, so when the lady who was checking masks saw him after checking my own, she just ran away. And that was why we knew, like, yeah, we're gonna have a field day today. And lo and behold, when we got to the court, the judge was driving everybody out. When he got to him, he couldn't even point at him. She was afraid. And then everything that we asked for, she granted on that day and never came back for the case. That was the end of the case. So it works.
It works. All
It
right.
works.
I know you have less than 30 minutes. So let's go to our people in the studio. Unfortunately, because normally we have more time, I'm not going to let everybody here may not be able to ask questions. It all depends on the people that come in. If they just go straight to their question, then we'll be able to get as much as possible. So, Sowore, do you want to take three at once, or do you want to take one?
Let's just do one. Let's start with one because my
Okay.
memory is really poor right now because I just flew 12 hours from Lagos to
All right.
DC.
I know. All
I'm
right.
still
So
jet
please,
lag.
just go straight to your question, and then we can get as many as we can before he leaves in 20 something minutes. One man, you're next. You're first. Where is he? Okay.
All right. I'll be straight to it. Thank you for having me, Rudolph. Good to see you, Yele, and all that. So let me just get straight to it, since you're pressed for time. I've always wanted to ask you this question, so I'll use this opportunity to ask. Now, what's the objective of your exercise? Are you looking to govern the Nigerian state? Are you looking to sensitize the Nigerian people about what their rights are? Or are you just looking to oppose just for the sake of, not just for the sake, but to act as an opposition figure? So what exactly is the objective of the exercise? To sensitize the people, or just to be an opposition figure? And then a follow on, and then I'll come off the screen. Some people find some of your ideas a bit psychedelic, a bit jejune, but I often find you in all of these like homecoming sort of spaces, like a homecoming, like with Rudolph, Chidi, and places like that. So, do you make appearances where some of your thoughts may be interrogated a bit more than they would in places like this? So I'll leave that and I'll come off the screen and listen.
So my goal is not to. I think I've gone through the complete spectrum of the question you asked. So there was a point my intention was to sensitize people, and I did that in college against military rule, talk about democracy. Um, but I never quite thought of myself as opposition because who are you opposing? We really don't have any structure in place to be opposed. But I would admit that after doing all of this, sensitizing people, well, you're still opposing every government that's been in power, both military and civilian, that I got to a point that I convinced myself, which was the hardest thing I did, that without good people getting to govern Nigeria, Nigeria can never get it right. And that was the point at which I took the plunge. to get involved in partisan politics, which I hated a lot. But opposition for what? Who am I opposing? I'm not trying to be an opposition figure. Because there's nothing to really oppose. What has kept Nigeria the way it is because people actually see those in government as something big. But there's no government in place. You just have a bunch of guys who are taking turns, to run a country that they found out the people are very scared, somewhat lazy, complacent, and can be taken for granted. Otherwise, some of these guys, it won't take us 24 hours to root them out, even without shooting a gun.
All right, thank you. Dr. Chidi.
I don't know. I'm not gonna ask Sure any question, just sitting and watching Sure and watching you, Dr. Damages, you guys are my favorite people. I almost kind of became emotional, because talking about the Nigerian situation, I know we've been at this for long. I remember, Sure was talking about breaking his nose, but I remember before then, I remember his trivials, in prison, being locked up, missing his family, being dragged about in court, so many, being arrested, beaten up, so many things he's had to go through. I remember one time when he was in detention and he said he wasn't going to eat. And most of us, there was a time we were all even crying here or shedding tears and all that. And this was all because of the Nigerian people, right? That we did all we did. But I'm glad if people in Nigeria are not ready, as much as I'm not generalizing, but I want you guys to know that as much as we feel for people in Nigeria, if they are not ready, there's really nothing you can do. They said sure. The reason I said we're not ready sometimes is because we joke about everything. People were busy saying, "Oh, sure, come back to Nigeria," as if this is the first time. As if this is the first time. Protest is happening. You say, sure, come back, come back. You just like to distract yourself. Nobody's distracting you. Okay, when he came back to Nigeria, all those of you that were making that noise, you shut up. Okay, I'm glad that now we are talking. Sure is in US. I'm so happy. I'm the happiest human being. Rudolph is in the US. The fuel crisis, everything that's going on in Nigeria. Do you think Shore's kids are in Nigeria? Why don't you guys just get a life? Like, why don't we get serious again?
Dr. Chidi, Dr. Chidi, sorry, I know you have a lot to say, but we have to rush. There are a lot of people. We have less than 20 minutes.
Sorry. So me, I came here just to I came here to be. I came here to support and make them they look, they see. And Sure is in Nigeria now. In America, the day we are ready, we're Sure and people like us, we are waiting for you. We are just waiting for you. Miles ahead. We're in a place now where this thing is not touching us like before. Yes, we can see it's touching us, but it's not like that. We're waiting for you now. The whole thing is in your hand. When you call us now, we will join. But we are done. Like we're done. Finished.
All right. Thank you, Chidi. We quickly, just one question, please. No speeches. Otherwise, I will have to remove you. There are people who are in there and they want to get a chance. Sure. Okay, go ahead, Alaba. You are next.
Yeah. Hi, Sowore. Nice seeing you. My question is simple. It's on the concept of arrested development. Me and you, we've been together in the struggle from the days way back. Was it in Atom Cemetery when we went for the burial of Kunle Shonowo from Lasu, where I was killed way back in those days? And the term arrested developments appears to the word your critics use on you, that you have never really outgrown your student union days to consider the type of problem that Nigeria faces. Nigeria does not have a democracy. Since 1999, what we have was a permanent coup d'etat by the ruling elite against the masses. But yet, you always call for protest, for people to come out. People like Delesho Farotimi believe that protests can never achieve anything, particularly in light of the Nigerian problem, whereby what we have is bigger than apartheid, is worse than apartheid. It's bigmanism. It's a kind of feudalism. However, apartheid is visible, black and white.
Alaba, please, Alaba, Alaba.
I'm going to my question.
I'll get to that, please.
Yeah. So what we have is bigmanism, and however, to fight it, protest is not going to fight it. Have you considered forming coalition with people who are the movers and shakers of the youth, recruiting them into the movement, educating them on the bigger fight, and as we move forward, because political partisanship is not going to lead us to the promised land. So we have to view the problem from a bigger perspective than we are currently approaching. We can't approach a bigger problem like that, like children. We have to have a bigger approach. That was my question. Coalition, recruiting, starting your church move, not a church, a movement that is bigger than just contesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
I hear some of these things you say all the time, that somehow a person who dedicated his life to making Nigeria better since I was 21 years old, and now I'm 54, have grown to the point that I've seen the world, try to even make it work for other people, but have never looked back one day. It's somehow described the way you have described me, like a child. It's very easy to, and I'm not saying this to insult anyone, it's easy to sit behind a computer and say whatever you want to say about Nigeria. But if you have to walk in my shoes for one day, right, where you look back and people are following you and they could kill you any moment, where you're flying and your flight gets to where you're going, and like it happened to me this last trip, the entire windshield had shattered and they didn't tell anybody, and we didn't know what happened. And where people arrest you, lock you up, where people kill members of your family on the streets, like a dog. And you still say that somebody who stayed and fight the system in that manner is a child. I don't know how to respond. But to your question about coalition, the coalition you are looking for does not exist in Nigeria, because you use the word as movers and shakers of youth. Who are the movers and shakers of youth in Nigeria that that you can point to? Is it the people who use NSAS to make fame, money, and ran away when the NSAS people are still dead and undiscovered? Is it the people who sell themselves to politicians whenever there is money that you are calling movers and shakers of, or is it musicians or movie makers? The same type you have in America who will tell you to go and vote, but themselves don't vote. No, the coalition that Nigeria needs, that I believe and I work with, are the coalition of the oppressed. But they may not have name. I have a problem, as a matter of fact, and I will confess it any day to you. I have a problem with the big men that you refer to as shakers, because they don't shake nothing. If they are really shakers, why is the country not shaking in any way? Why is the country they are trying to shake not shaking? You see, there's a lot of people, and you see them who come out and say big things, like we're talking about Rudolph earlier, VDM and all. They have followers, because that's how Nigeria has been designed. But there's no substance there. You mentioned one of our friends. He will even tell you that the best he can do for Nigeria is to speak whenever it is safe to speak. I speak, I act, I walk the talk. What I can't force, and I haven't been able to force, is the change that I'm looking for, or that I've always said I want. But that is dependent on all of us. Rudolph was mentioning earlier that some people will go online and say that I should go back to Nigeria. I'll give you an example. There was a person who asked me that same question, and I asked, why don't we go to Nigeria together? And it's one of these, it's supposed to be one of the big shakers. He said, no, me, I can give you all the money I have to go to Nigeria, but I will never step in Nigeria. But if you see the person on Twitter, you would think that they want the country, they won't even go near Nigeria because they understand on the inside what it takes to even walk around in Nigeria in the middle of these hyenas in just one day. There are some people that what has happened to me over these years, they happened to them once. They disappear completely. They are alive, but they will never. They said that to us. So, but I'm not here to brag about what I can do and cannot do. But I also can have an objection to people saying that at my age, that I'm still student union and this thing. As if the people governing Nigeria are acting like adults. The people that are running Nigeria down. Is it a Tinubu? Would you not wish that the guy who was the union president during your time is president of Nigeria now, instead of Tinubu, who doesn't know his left from his right? Or tell me which governor of a state in Nigeria that you knew in school that you would have voted for as a student union secretary or PRO, who is now governor? Is it the one in Ogun State that was convicted of credit card fraud, who is now Ogun State governor? Or is it the one in Imo who didn't win election, that they gave election, who was driving Maurice Ibekwe, that you would have voted for? Mention one person in Nigeria that is the big shaker of Nigeria today that you want me to work with. Mention one, now that we are here, that you wish I was working with, that I'm not working with, that would have made a difference. Mention one.
Alaba, no, sorry.
No. I want you to answer me.
Okay. Alaba, go ahead.
Sowore, in the issue of Nigeria, the coalition I'm talking about, listen, I'm mentioning them. In the issue of the coalition I'm talking about is the coalition of the willing. Let us start with, there's a lot of Nigeria that are disgruntled with the state of Nigeria that are on your stance as we speak. But they are not connected. They are not mobilized on the same page.
Alaba mentioned the name. We have to go to other people. He actually has to go. It's not a joke. He has to go.
I would say there are still some righteous, a few religious leaders, not the Pentecostal ones. Not the Pentecostal ones.
All right, Alaba,
you could move people from Nigerians are religious people. You could start from mosques, churches.
We will talk about it privately then, Alaba, since we're friends.
All right, let's go to Omori. Go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Sowore, it's good to see you again. I've known you for more than 3 decades. I'm not here to ask you any question because most of us fight on your behalf. We take bullets on your behalf. We are ready to die on your behalf. I just want to say thank you for your tenacity, for your consistency over the years. I want to thank you for your doggedness and your sagacity. We thought we were involved in student unionism. You have taken it to a different level. People gather everywhere, in every forum to ask a question about what Sowore would have done differently. I wonder what they are doing in their own. Why is everybody waiting for Sowore? Why is everybody waiting for Sowore for protest? Somebody once said, Sowore is good for protest. When it comes to contesting for Nigeria presidency, it's not immaterial. I don't know the kind of people we are. Everybody waiting for Sowore to do everything. People that cannot they cannot go to their restroom without taking a permission from their wives. Sowore, please, I don't know where you get your energy from. We say God will continue to keep you and protect you. We know your words. If there's anything they thank God. More people are coming today to tell you, you haven't done this, you haven't done that, you have done this differently. They are in their comfort zones behind their computer, talking every day without making a meaningful impact. So, the only question I have today for people that say, Sowore he's not a presidential material. He was the person preaching production instead of consumption. And he's an importer. He's one of the biggest importers in Nigeria. What would they have told Sowore? Sowore, once again, thank you for your tenacity, your doggedness, and your sagacity. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Omori. Let's go to Pansi.
My question to him is, now, 2027 is around the corner. People come on this platform to talk about PDP, APC, and LP, Labour Party. When the bigger elephant in the room
All right.
Vision, there's not going to be headway. What do we do? Is it still going to be about contesting for presidency in 2027? When we know that they have infiltrated everywhere. They have hijacked INEC. They have hijacked police. They have hijacked the court. So of what use is it contesting in 2027 when the necessary structures are not taken care of? This is my question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sure you want to answer that.
Well, at this point, I can accommodate more questions because of time.
Okay. You mean you can or you can't?
I can.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Because I'm going to extend this to it's 2:20. So another 30 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Good. That's good. So there's a question on the comment section that I want to go back to. Someone wanted to know, looking at the election, local government election that happened in Kaduna yesterday, where the party in power won, which is the trend across the country. The same thing, what is the hope for 2027 for those who will want to participate in that election? So
I don't know why anybody, on a serious note, is looking at 2027 when you have been trapped in 2024. These guys are showing more than before. They are disdain for any form of electoral practice. They are no longer pretending that there's no democracy in Nigeria anymore and that there would be democracy. They just finished an election in Edo State where they did not even systematically rig it. They rigged it to the face of Edo people, and I like to say that because if it didn't happen, if they didn't do what they did in Edo, the online will be awash with our Edo brothers who say, Edo no be Lagos. They brought Lagos to Edo to come and spite Edo people. What did you do? Don't even go to local government elections because those are the worst. The state electoral commissioners are the worst. They don't even conduct elections. They wait for 12 noon. They will announce. They know there's nothing you can do. Because not only are they the people who conduct the elections, they also use the state high court to do electoral. It's the governor who appoints the electoral commissioner. He's also the one who appoints the state electoral commission tribunals. So you have no chance. And I've been saying, I don't know how many times I need to tell people that I have shifted away from elections as the solution to Nigeria by itself. That for Nigeria to have a future in elections, there has to be a revolution first. That is my position. And that's what I've been preaching. Of course, you can ask me, which is the next question most of the, why did you participate in election? Well, in the course of asking for a revolution, I discovered that a lot of people also need to be convinced about what works and what does not work. And in participating, we let you know that look at the thing you said, though, it's not going to work. Because I don't know why anybody is asking question about 2027. I don't, what is wrong with us? 2027, these guys have finished with you in 2024. They have already announced the election of 2027 in Edo State. That's what they did. They have already announced the election, and you are here discussing. And let me tell you, they love it. They love it when they keep hearing 2027. They say, "Oh my God, these people they never learn." Because by 2027, it's just going to be one night again passes, and if Tinubu is still alive, he will be president again. And some of you will say, well, Shebi they did the election now, make you leave them alone, and they've tried. So please, I don't understand why people keep making it sound like 2027 is going to be different from 1963. I don't know why people keep saying that. If you are ready for 2027, stop coming online to discuss change about Nigeria. Just wait for 2027 and you find yourself in 2028.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Pansat quickly. Pansat, your question.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rudolph. Welcome to the show, Mr. Omoyele Sowore, and the rest of the panelists and those who are watching in the comment section. You know, I think I should first start by thanking you for your courage. You didn't mention that, and that is true. You've sacrificed a lot. And you've been there for a long time, and you've grown over the years. I've seen, we all follow you. We saw when you came into the new media, citizen journalism, and all that stuff. So that's good. But I have to tell you, the format is not doing you any good where people cannot sit here and talk to you and ask you questions. That's why we're here. This format of having a lot of your supporters, Chidi, Dr. Chidi, Rudolph, you guys go way back. I teed up a video, so I don't have time for any of that, obviously, because others want to speak and you don't have time. But there's one thing, there are a lot of things I'm going to talk to you at some other time, right? But one thing I want to know right now, we know all the economic, what are you a communist or are you a capitalist? I know that you have variations like socialism. The reason I ask you the question is that it makes no sense that you don't support Peter Obi. You say they're all the same. And then you talk about revolution. So when you tie the two together, in communism, the preferred way for people to take over power is by revolution, right? But more particularly, when you say they're all the same, the only way that makes sense is if they're all capitalists. You follow me? So now, would you now forever put that part to rest? Are you a communist? Do you prefer communism now? Rudolph, before he answers, because I know you want to throw me out. Hold on.
Constance, we have to go. We have
I
to
don't
go.
know, wait. I want to say the things that I'm curious to know about Lera, so that he will, for his own good. You're not doing him any.
Sure, you can answer him. We have to go to other people.
Yeah, no, but Rudolph, you're not doing me any favor about what you're doing.
If I tell you that,
you can't share them.
If I tell you that I don't understand this question, I'll be lying. It's because it's all like weaved together.
I think he was saying whether you are a capitalist or socialist.
I'm not a capitalist.
Okay.
I believe in socialism, but I also I do not like to box myself because I think the world is evolving. So also are we evolving as a people. So, for instance, this is some of the struggle I have with some of our colleagues. People still think that if you don't think the way Karl Marx was thinking, you are not pure enough. And I said to them, you can't even go to Karl Marx village to stay overnight because they are still his people, right? But people can use whatever knowledge that is out there, example and experiences, and use them to define who they are. Karl Marx was Karl Marx. There was no Karl Marx before Karl Marx that we know of, right? He's a person who defined his own environment, his existence around his experiences in life, and that's why we quote him. So anybody who is trying to box anybody together, to a point, will not get any answer that is reasonable in my view from me. But then to now combine that with why don't you support Peter Obi? How many times are you going to keep asking me the question about Peter Obi? I've answered you. I don't believe in Peter Obi. You believe in him, that's your problem. I don't believe in him. I don't believe in him. I don't believe in all the people that he's associated with. I don't believe in Gowon. I don't believe in Obasanjo. I don't believe in Doyin Okupe. I don't believe in Abure. All the people that constitute their campaign team, they are the same people who destroyed Nigeria. How many times do I need to tell you that so that you understand? But to keep, pushing that position as if it will change my DNA is waste of time.
All right. Thank you. Jide, you're next.
Thank you so much, Dr. Damages. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Omoyele Sowore, thank you so much for having me here. I'm also from Unilag. I graduated 2016. I've been following you for a long time now. I like your tenacity, your determination, you're willing to sacrifice because you are willing to ensure that we are liberated from this oppression. Not just Nigerians, you are doing it for Black people, Afro-descendant people, and you're also doing it for the world, honestly, because this fight is not a small fight. But I have two major questions for you. The first one is, in the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, after the Second World War, a lot of the generations at that time, when we had colonial Nigeria, during the struggle for independence, there was more consciousness. They didn't have social media. They didn't have all the resources we have now. People have access to information, but they were able to sacrifice. They were able to lead their life during the civil rights movement, during the struggle for independence in many African countries. They were able to lead their life and pay the price for us to have the little independence that we have, for us to migrate to the West, to get education, to get all the opportunities that
Jide, please, can you go straight to the question because we don't have time, please.
Okay, no problem. So the question now is, why is it that this current generation, this generation of the post-Cold War era, the 90s and this current generation, I said the millennial and Gen Z, why don't they have the same consciousness of that era? Why, despite the fact that they have access to so much information in their fingertips? That's the first question. Why is that there is this docility about politics, particularly among Africans, Nigerians, and there's so much ignorance? That's number one. The second question, briefly, is if we're able to liberate us, if Nigeria as a country is able to liberate itself from Western imperialism, like we have in other countries that have been able to do so, we are likely to be sanctioned, economic sanctions, political sanctions, and all that by the West. So how can Nigeria deal with that to develop? Those are my two major questions. Thank you so much.
I will answer the last one, which is sanctions. Why is it that the West was unable to even sanction successfully all these Boy Scouts in West Africa, Niger, Burkina Faso, and I think Mali, where there's military? Yes. So if they are struggling to sanction them, that means Nigeria can survive even better. So what is important, you must understand, is your people. If you get it right, like with your people, there's nobody there's nothing the West can do about you. If Nigerians are doing well, the West can't do anything about it. They can try all they want to sabotage you. There's no question about it. But they also now have enough problems on their hands to deal with that they don't even have that leverage anymore. Why is it that South Africa is able to take on Israel in the International Criminal Court and they can't do anything about it? It's because South Africa is South Africans who fought for liberation. They understand how to fight, But when you have puppets as your leaders, anybody can take Nigeria for granted. Even all this Mali, Burkina Faso that are taking us for, it's because of the kind of leaders we have in Nigeria now. If Nigeria were to have upright leaders who are doing well by their people, they will think twice before they start doing some of the rubbish they are doing towards our country. About your first question about consciousness, what you have forgotten completely, and I know you didn't forget, is the quality of education. It was deliberately done that the education fed to Nigerians over the years diminished in quality. In fact, I can challenge you that the education you met at Unilag when you reached there, when you left in 2016, mine was likely better than it. Because at that point, it has become what they call baroof. People no longer write their own exams anymore. Lecturers were helping people to write projects. They weren't doing anything anymore. By the time I got into Unilag, on merit, writing JAMB. You are not likely to get into any school now except private schools on merit, because you still have to go and write another exam that they will then use to sell all the spaces. So you are going to school, but you are not getting education. Nigerians are not even getting literate anymore. And I'm saying it because I just came back from there yesterday. It's
all right.
terrible. Yes. So you must understand where that is coming from. So the consciousness they are getting is coming from the unlikely places. Unfortunately, social media is one of them. And that's the worst place to get consciousness from, because it's consciousness with no substance. Music, it's not like the music in Nigeria that has melody but no message.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. So whoever I call next, please, one question. We have less than 15 minutes, and I really want everybody in the studio now to have the opportunity to say something. So, Kene, you are next.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Damages, and welcome, Mr. Sowore. I will applaud you for your zeal to making sure that things are being changed in that country. However, I would like to say something about your supporters. I think some of your supporters that come on this platform to present whatever they think is right are not being honest to you. And my question will go direct. I want you to just tell us your antecedents, what you have done in the past. I mean, especially leadership position that you've held, that somebody like me that believe in using a template to make my judgment, just to convince me that because of this your leadership qualities, because of this leadership position that you held in the past, then I have to throw in my support to making sure that you be the president of the country. I say this because we've had a lot of activists that think that because of their activism, that they will better perform as president of a country, and we've seen them failed woefully. So please tell us what somebody like me should look back on and say, okay, this is my reason for supporting you.
Then I'm going to do something unusual today, and I'm going to read to you the meaning of leadership that drives me. But don't be surprised. I just Googled it.
No, I'm talking about what you Google. I'm talking about your leadership position
so that
you
I can
held in
answer
the
your
past.
question directly. You understand? And it says like leadership is a set of mindsets and behaviors that aligns people in a collective direction, enables them to work together and accomplish shared goals, and help them to adjust to changing environments. That is my own understanding of leadership. But my own understanding of your question is that you want me to tell you if I sat on the board of McKinsey. No, I've never sat on the board of McKinsey. If I've been a governor in a Nigerian state, no, I've never been a governor in a Nigerian state. If I've been former president of Nigeria, no. But I have the qualities out of what I understand to be leadership. It is that people who are working together to uplift themselves, to get to a better place in life, that those qualities are imbued in me. And by the way, I am not campaigning because elections are not coming on the 2027. So don't worry. There's plenty of time for you to change your mind towards me. But I am not going to also reduce myself to the argument that because you have never been governor before, you have never been head of state before, you are not qualified to be president of Nigeria. No. In fact, the position of president of Nigeria doesn't require you to be a former head of state. It doesn't require you to be a former governor. It just requires you to have a WAEC certificate and to have quality, to have character, to have vision. Supposedly, it's not written in it's not written anywhere. And it is that is driving me. I believe that I have vision, I have a mission, I have the quality of character that will enable me accomplish what I just read to you, to lead a group of people to prosperity, to peace and progress. And that let me finish. And that I don't
Those are
need.
what you believe. How do you convince me?
Yes. No,
Those are what you believe. Nigeria is a complex country.
Oh no, please. I want you to forget about this. Nigeria is a complex place. If Nigeria were to be complex, how can somebody like Buhari be president of Nigeria for 8 years?
And that was why he failed.
No. What? But now you are asking me, was Buhari not a former president of Nigeria? Was Obasanjo not a former president of Nigeria? Was Tinubu not 8 years governor of Nigeria's most complex state, Lagos? All right. And what did all these people collectively achieve? It is because you are looking for leadership where there's no leadership. That's why you are asking me this question. And I want to say this. Let's be very clear about it. Anybody who is sitting here today in this panel, can become a better Nigeria president than the ones that you are asking me to
Their
answer
former
questions.
leadership, they failed in their former leadership.
No, because some of you have glorified the failed former leaders.
If you agree that all of them failed, we're on the same page.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, but if you are one of the people who believe that some of them failed and some did not properly fail, then we are not on the same page. Are you getting me? Because that's the argument I hear all the time. Oh, we have one who's a devil, but there's a devil that is not really a devil. Let's go with that one.
Peter Obi, for example, led Anambra State successfully.
Go
And that is why somebody like me support him.
Go and spend your next vacation in Anambra. Pack your things and go and spend Anambra.
I always do annually. Every Christmas, I always do.
Yes, because Christmas, you have to carry police to go with you. You know, there's no reason to. So go to Anambra. Send your children to Anambra to go to school. Not Christmas. Don't go and spend Christmas in Anambra. Send your children, put your children now, let them go to a public school that Peter Obi governed for 8 years, the one that he built. Why are we just always lying to ourselves here? We can't keep lying to ourselves. If you want to have a better country, go for a better country. Close your eyes. Forget about your biases. Just go for what is best. And the best that you see where you are is what you should go for. If that best is not me, don't go for me. I've said it. If I'm not qualified, don't vote for me. No matter how hard I try, denounce me. But don't choose people who have failed consistently, year in, year out, over and above some of us, because you accuse us of not having experience because we didn't steal.
All right, thank you. We have 6 people and less than 10 minutes. So what I will do is, once you ask your question, I will remove you so that there won't be any chance for further interactions. Revolution, you're next.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Rudolph. For me, I just want to say to Omoyele Sowore that I'm happy to align with you. You can see the name I bear, Revolution. I'm 100% behind you. I know who you are. I know you have proven yourself. Those people who have problem with you, well, I don't know what their problem is. Thank you, my brother. I'm happy to speak to you one-on-one today. Thank you so much, man.
All right, Revolution, thank you. There's a question. So there's a question on the comment, and it says, what is your stance on restructuring of Nigeria? Do you support it? And if you do, how should Nigeria be restructured? That is from AY, to benefit the people.
I have proposed, as part of even our August protest, Days of Rage, that Nigeria should undergo restructuring. But the restructuring that Nigeria must go through must be decided by the Nigerian people through a sovereign national conference. Why did I say sovereign? I don't want the conference in which we come back and somebody will go and tinker with it or put it inside the dustbin. The decisions of it is a constitution, a new constitution, a brand new constitution that determine how Nigeria should be restructured. Because so many of the people you are hearing from who talk about restructuring, they have different agenda. So many of them hidden agenda. They are not going to tell you what it means until they get to power. Then they are opposed to restructuring. All these Tinubu that you are seeing, when they were out of power in Afenifere, they used to shout restructuring. The moment they got to power, they said they are now opposed to restructuring. Buhari them and all their ACM party, they used to be APC. They used to be in support of restructuring. When they got to power, they don't want restructuring no more. There are governors who are shouting restructuring when they were no governors. The moment they get to governorship position, they don't allow local government elections to hold, including Peter Obi. Peter Obi was governor of Anambra State for 8 years. No local government election held. Because when you people are shouting about Peter Obi, you don't like people to talk about Peter Obi, but I will keep reminding you people why he's not different from the rest. So the restructuring that we must have must come from the Nigerian people themselves deciding how they want their country to be restructured. It cannot be the restructuring for the elite, because the elite restructuring I hear of is that they want regional government. They want to go back to Southwest. The people of Ekiti don't want to come back to Ibadan. The people of Ondo State, they don't want to become an appendage of the people of Oyo State anymore in a restructured Nigeria. So let people come and sit down and determine how
They want economic, the restructuring. The restructuring I want is economic. And I believe strongly that every section of Nigeria should develop at their own pace. I believe that. Or that our center should not be as strong as it is. But let the Nigerian people come and determine this. Because regardless of how we restructure, unless and until we have good people governing even a restructured Nigeria, you'll still come and bring another sing song another time. Because right now, the state governors are supposed to govern their states. Allow the local government to govern the local government. There's no state that is allowing local government to govern. Even after the Supreme Court decided, they still had to create another committee to go and look at the position of the Supreme Court that is supposed to be final, because they don't want to let go of the money that goes to local government that's seized by state governors. That's the problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, let's quickly go to Dr. Dominic.
Is it my turn?
It's my turn. Don't cut me out. It's my turn now.
I think someone came before me. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I was here before them. Are they doing a partnership here?
I don't know who came before, but quickly.
Come on, man.
I was here before Gabriel Henry, but let him go ahead. Not a problem.
See the problem.
It's not true.
So you have to
leave
it for me to decide now. Dr. Dominic, your question.
Okay. Shoba, nice to see you again.
Thank you, Doctor. Good to see you too.
Yeah. I'll just keep it pretty straightforward. So it seems like every successive Nigerian government is worse than its predecessor governments. And for every administration, there's always something major that, shakes people's mindset, whether it's fuel subsidy or hunger. So do you think Nigerians are finally at the precipice of revolution? And if you think they're at the precipice of revolution, what is it that has finally brought them there? Considering that Nigerians have been desensitized to multiple failings of multiple administration. Are we finally at the precipice of revolution? And what will bring them there if they are not? And if they're already there, what has brought them there? Is it maybe the hunger that's happening right now? Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Let me surprise you. They're not there yet. And do you know why? Diaspora Nigerians. So we are still sustaining and subsidizing the suffering in Nigeria with little money we send, to the point that people have not reached breaking points. And the guys who are running Nigeria also understand where the breaking point is. So they won't let people quite reach it because they understand the breaking point. But they will also not let the people have it because they don't need them to have their rights. They don't need them to have comfort to come and be asking questions. So they will keep them, it's like, I don't know, I think Rudolph, you used to tell me this, the part of heaven that is between heaven and hell, that's where Nigerians are. They are not quite in hell, but they are not in heaven. Yeah. So that is where the Nigerian leaders have kept Nigerians, but we have not reached the breaking point yet. I can tell you that.
Does one exist? And what does it look like?
There's a breaking point. There's a breaking point that will happen. There's a breaking point that will happen. But the thing about the breaking point is that nobody will know when it will happen.
All right. Let's go to Henry.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Sowore. Yeah. Thank you for your atlas. Thank you for all you've been doing for Nigeria from university time to now. If you recall, we have about three presidents before this. The third president now, good luck, and Buhari, and the Tinubu now. We'll be talking about want the country to be better, but you don't want to go into any collabo with anybody. You said it's a thief. This one is a thief. So we have the movement last election. Do we have the population to combine to come together with one party at least to make sure we start from somewhere to change the narrative of that country, to change the country, that change we're looking for. But you're not ready to compromise with anybody. So how are we going to do it? We're still going to wait for another president on president.
Can I answer your question?
Let me finish. Mr. Sowore, if you look at it now, right now, Nigerians are not ready.
Yeah.
You sacrifice a lot for that country. Your brother died in this situation, in this, all this. I will advise you right now, from my opinion, if the Nigerians are ready, you are there waiting for them. Because I can see Nigerians are not ready. They can be having time to criticize people on social media. They will not have time to criticize their government, to stand up for what they believe on. Nigerians are not suffering yet. Let them, don't sacrifice yourself for Nigeria at the moment right now. This I will tell you, please. Thank you.
Go ahead.
It's not a question, but you know, some of us are not doing this because we are not doing it for anybody. I'm doing whatever I'm doing now. I've been doing my entire life, probably I would say I won't even say adult because I started quite early. But so I don't expect anything in return. I don't even expect people to be nice to me. It's the reason why sometimes people draw my attention to what people say on my timelines. I was like, what's the big deal about people getting upset on social media? Maybe it's because you guys don't get to be on the wrong side of powerful people. So you will get upset over comments written about you. But if you know how people really get upset at me and what they try to do to me, social media is small compared to what they try to do to me on a daily basis to harm me, to destroy me. So we have to understand that so that we can make that progress. But I don't think we should allow Nigerians to suffer because they are not ready. Because honestly, um, it's too hard. It's too hard for them, and I think we should all work together and make sure that just as we care about people we don't know, like we even care about Palestinians, and they're not our family members. How much less our own people, our brothers and sisters. And it's not as if Nigerians put themselves in this situation; they were put in it over time. I have kept saying everything that is wrong in Nigeria that Nigerian leaders are doing, they've organized over time. They've organized this over time. Otherwise, you will not see that it's the same set of people that have been controlling Nigeria over the last, at least within my own lifetime. I can count the same set of people who are always around, making sure that Nigeria doesn't make progress. We know them. And they are the ones who come out and say, no, we don't want this to happen. They make sure it doesn't happen. If they don't want roads to be built, it will never be built. If they don't want schools to be built, it will never be built, and they have connections here and there. But we know them. And where I get a little bit, surprised sometimes is how much people know the solutions and how less they are willing to go to solve it. And that's where I get discouraged. It's like, but you know the truth now, you know the solution. You don't need to deceive yourself. Just like our brother who was saying, oh, we had a coalition, and ask yourself, the coalition members who are in the Senate, House of Rep, have they made any law? Were they not the same set of people that first collected 150 million naira car when they were distributing car? Are they not still there? They're there now.
All right.
But
Let's
what are they doing? Just same old stand.
let's go to Chim. Chim, you're next.
Okay, so thank you, Rudolph. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, so sure, it's a pleasure to meet you. I've met you once here in Calgary just before the 2019 election. I still have that photograph with me.
Keep it, man. You might need it.
Your commitment to the development of Nigeria, especially in the political realm, is not in doubt. I absolutely do not have a doubt about that. Starting from your student union days to when you formed Sahara Reporters and used it as an agent to unveil some of the secret things that sometimes, there are things that used to be hidden from Nigerians and the public wouldn't know, but Sahara Reporters became one of those platforms that informed Nigerians. Now, it became also a platform that became controversial as a result of somebody has actually preempted my this thing, and I was like, does this person know where my question is going? Rudolph just showed it earlier on. I've had people who I've tried to invite to this program, and they will tell me, "Oh, that Rudolph and Sowore, I can't. That Rudolph that worked with Sowore," and I'll say, "What do you mean?" They'll say, "Oh, These are the people who wrote everything that threw out Jonathan and brought the terrible Buhari that we have. That they are molds. These are the people who APC was using and all that. And I'll try to argue against it. So I've been keeping it. In fact, there's somebody who works for Rudolph. I'm sure she's listening, who says she's bearing a grudge. She will never forgive anybody who voted APC. And one day I wanted to ask her, I hope you know that Rudolph was one of those writing things that helped push PDP off. But you work for him. But here's my question. What do you say to people who say you're part and parcel? Because we're Nigerians, and it's not our fault if we stand up against a government we perceive not to be doing well, and then the other party that benefits from that particular process turns out to be worse than the one that was there before. That has always been my argument. But I want to hear from you. What do you say to people who say you are an element who was used to push out supposedly what they termed was a better government and enthrone this APC now that has become a monster?
Well, there are lies that have been told about me in this life that sometimes I wonder how powerful people think I am. And one of the biggest lies ever told about me or about us is that somehow we sat in New York and installed the president for Nigeria. And then, having figured out this magic way of installing presidents, I then went to run for president in Nigeria in 2019, and I couldn't make myself president. I went and ran in 2023, couldn't use the same magic wand to help myself. That's what is so funny about the lies. The reason being that the position I hold today is a position I've been holding since 1989 when I arrived at the University of Lagos as a student activist. Is to fight against corruption, incompetence, bad governance, everything that goes bad. Never changed. To the point that the Buhari, they claimed that I worked with. That's to the point. Had to put me in jail, kill my brother. And he couldn't reveal what pact I had with him. That, this Sowore that is now against me used to work for me, which is the position of some of the people you are now relating to us. The new reason is that it was never true. I was doing what my conscience tells me is right and is what I do till today. Do you know that there are people who still believe in the lie that they concocted, that me and Tinubu were like this? They've concocted this lie. The lie is, I don't know how many years old it is. They still ask me. In fact, when Tinubu won elections, some of them who told this lie were asking me if I can find them access to Tinubu. They have now forgiven him. They want a job with the government. When I tell them that I've only met Tinubu twice in my life, they said, no. You and Tinubu, you are close. You and Buhari, you are close. Do you know why people think that way? I've finally come to the conclusion. They could not believe that what we were doing on Sahara was our own making, or that the power we had at that time, we did not monetize it the way other journalists monetize power, especially media power. A lot of people have said to me privately after they told the lie and discovered it's a lie that, oh boy, if not me be you that time, shall I for don't retire, because that was the time there was money. What did I mean money? There was money on Jonathan's side that he was willing to buy us collectively as Sahara so that we could be working for him. And that would have worth more than what Buhari would have been willing to pay. So it didn't make economic sense that we went with the guy who had less money than the guy who was controlling the Nigerian treasury at that time. Do you remember that was the period of Beziani? So if we wanted money, they could have flown a jet load of money to us, the same way they use Orisha Jaffo's jet to take 10 million to South Africa in the trunk of a plane. So
But it is a convenient lie because anytime it is told, it's magnetic. It will get even the most honest person. And I should read them bring APC now. How? They were writing something against Jonathan. And I will say again, conclusively here, maybe not conclusively, we'll keep discussing it, that the person that brought Buhari to power, number one, is Jonathan. I'm telling you. And until he apologizes to Nigeria for the wasted years that the opportunity, Jonathan was selling barrel of crude at $140 per barrel, almost throughout his tenure. If Jonathan wanted to change Nigeria in the 5 years he was in power, it was right there on his palm. And if I was close to anybody in Nigeria's corridors of power my entire life, it was Jonathan. So, to the point that when Jonathan won election, he sent for me to come and work with him through Oronto. I've said this several times. He sent money. We rejected it. Asked him to go and work. I've said it. Nobody has disputed it, that Jonathan sent messages to me, sent money to me in this America for people to give me money. I mentioned the guy who brought the money, Imani Boro. And that I said to him, go and work. If you work, we'll be proud of you. Reason being that the same way people are accusing me of working for Buhari, Northerners at that time also accused us of working for Jonathan. In fact, some Northern guys had set up a Facebook page asking to take down Sahara Reporters page. And the Facebook page had reached 70,000 people the day this guy died, Yaradua. Because they said we were anti-Islam. That's the reason we are opposing Yaradua. And that we were Southerners who didn't want Northerners to have power. So I have been accused also before of bringing Jonathan to power. Reason? Because we were reporting on what was happening with Yaradua's health. So how long will these lies last? Is the question you should ask yourself. But do I worry about them? No, because it's some of the things you have to live with. If you do what we do, it has its own consequences. People are going to lie to you against you. They are going to make up all kinds of stories on your. Sometimes when people lie, tell me some lies, I look back and say, are you talking about me? There was a guy who wrote a story from London at the time and said, Tinubu bought me a $5 million mansion in California. Do you guys remember? In 2015. I was like, wow, I need to find the mansion. Still looking for it till today. So it comes with the territory, I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are totally out of time, but it's up to Sowore. While we wait for the time you say we are going to cut off, let me go to Mr. James.
Yeah, thank you. Let me just go straight to my question. While you were answering Mr. Jide's question, you made reference to the appalling appalling education in Nigerian universities, particularly the University of Lagos. During the last election in Edo State, it is dehumanizing for professors, university professors in Nigeria, to be returning officers. These are jobs high school graduates and high school dropouts do here in the Gambia. Please, what do you think Nigeria should do to revamp the educational system? The educational system right now is morally barren and bankrupt. We are producing wishy-washy professors. There's one I work with here in the Gambia whose examination questions contain grammatical errors. A professor from a Nigerian university. What is wrong?
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, James.
I don't even have any answers for you. But the question you asked is, you made a comment that some of our professors are acting like high school dropouts. Some of them really are. Yeah, there's a lot of professors in Nigerian universities that are fake, a lot of them. But if you are thinking about professors that are returning officers, what about the professors who are special assistants to the students that failed in their university when they were professors, or the ones who call the wife of their pastors mommy? There's a lot of things wrong in Nigeria, please. And it's good to
Please,
hear from it.
yeah, please, where is Professor Alaho now? I frankly don't know where he is.
Professor Alao was our vice chancellor, University of Lagos. He's now
Where
in
is he?
California. He's in California. He's teaching. He's teaching at I think University of California. I think he's an adjunct professor. If you want to check on him, go to ratemyprofessor.com.
Okay. He taught me analytic geography.
He used to be a sound guy, but there's
No,
no how
no.
brilliant you are in Nigeria. The moment you start working for the bad guys, they will kill your brain cells.
He is the Aristotle of Nigeria.
All right, thank you, James. Let's go quickly to a flagship, then forefathers, and then we go.
Oh, well, thank you. Good afternoon, Rudolph, and good afternoon, Sowore. It's good to see you. I don't have a long question. My question is different from what everybody else has been asking. There's a common adage that says, uneasy is the head that wears the crown. And I think in your case, it's not a crown. My question to you is this. By the way, I've heard about you way back in my university days at the University of Benin in the 90s. And to see that you're still pushing with the same energy as you're doing at 54 is quite impressive. So here's my question. How are you doing mentally? How is your well-being?
All right, thank you. Sure.
Yeah, do you want me to disclose my mental health online to you?
No. Are you a shrink? I want to know you are shrink.
Well, are you okay? That's what I mean.
I understand completely what you are asking for, and here we have to be humble. It's tough to be doing well mentally when your passion and vision is in direction of mental wellness of others, and their physical wellness too. So sometimes it goes up. Sometimes it's not good because you have to deal with having a country that should be working, and you're working to make it work, and it's not working, and the people who don't make it work are the one it works for. I don't know if that mental calculation makes sense to you. So sometimes I have to admit that it's depressing. Yeah.
All
And
right.
I think that's a mental state of mind, right?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Forefathers.
Greetings, Dr. Rudolph. Thank you for having me, and greetings to all the people on the panel, and special greetings to Sowore for coming on here. I appreciate all the sacrifices you have made for the country, and I'm sure a lot of people appreciate that too. I just have one question. We know we don't have a lot of time. I believe that Nigeria faces an existential threat, just like most of the Black people around the world. And because of our underdevelopment and our security posture, we stand no chance based on the configuration of the world right now. So do you have any vision that you can share of how you want to deal with these challenges? Say peradventure, you make it into office. Thank you.
I will go build my own nuclear power station too, so that so that the world can respect me, can respect Nigeria. But I personally think that to get it right, I don't think the word security is appropriately used in Nigeria context. Because when you talk security in Nigeria, people are talking about physical security. They think police, or how you can live in safe neighborhoods. But security doesn't come from the sky. It comes from economic prosperity. If people are prosperous, if people are doing well, uh, you don't need houses that have walls that are that are taller than the house itself. I have often said this, and this is a digression, quick digression, that if someday Nigeria gets it right and we start enjoying physical security like you have in America, we should build a whole country with blocks broken down from fences in the country. just go and set up a whole country and say we want to build a 1,000,000 houses, and we are building this simply, utterly from just blocks that we took away from fences of houses that no longer have fences. That would be amazing, because we don't have the holistic conversation about security in Nigeria. Where security comes from, that there's economic prosperity, social security, national security. But our idea of security is homeland security, like Americans did after September 11. It's like, how do you keep some people out? How do you keep some people in? Why they have no fundamental rights? Just a police state. That's not my own idea of a police state, of Nigeria. So we have to start with that economic part first. And then once we get it right in that, and this might sound a little superficial to some of you who have like big security questions, but when we get it right at that local level, I think we can become that, security power that can have a voice in the sub-region and ultimately globally. But right now, we're not even there yet. We can't be talking about architecture or infrastructure of security when people cannot even afford to feed. What we have in Nigeria now is completely ragtag.
All right. The last question is
what if I show you that the evidence suggests that the opposite is more important?
Oh, that you should have an army that is more powerful than the people, and that you get prosperity for that, even when you can't afford to put bullets in their guns. I don't agree with you, but we can have that conversation at another time.
All right, forefathers, we'll have another time. Let's go to Ovie for the final question. Ovie, quickly.
Thank you. Joel, I want to appreciate you for shining spotlight on our entertainer.
Yeah, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
You can't hear me. You can't hear me. I didn't hear me. That's why.
I can't hear him.
So windy. So windy.
Rudolph.
Yeah.
I have to run.
I know. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for.
Guys, please, I'm back on this side of the world. I'll be glad to come back. Maybe I can become a panelist, because I heard it's a very powerful position.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah. You will. We will get you back in few not long time. We'll get you back.
Thank you so much.
We'll have you for 3 hours.
It's a pleasure rejoining the house. I know a lot of you, and we're friends too. So I'll be gladly back here. So let's keep pushing until we get it right. Hopefully.
All right.
Have a pleasant Sunday, everybody. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We will take a break of 5 minutes. When we come back, we are going to review how it went, and I want to hear from some of you, including the people that revealed some things I didn't know they've been keeping away from me for a long time. So let's take a break. If I can get break music, and then we will be right.
Don't play that magic fashek. Do you have another one?
No, we can't play that anymore, just in case some of your moderators
very good.
Who don't come to work, who don't show up for work.
Wait, Rudolph, come on, you can't do that to me now.
No, they actually it's copyrighted now, so we can't play it.
Good.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for staying in and for being part of our conversation with Sowore. All right. I understand that everybody's question is the most important question. That's how people feel. I understand that. And I understand that we never had enough time for anybody,
Yes,
everybody
so
to do
I
what
have
they.
to express my unhappiness for the fact that I couldn't even get into the studio. I think a lot of people were hanging around in the background. You didn't kick them out so people can come in.
Oh,
It
I
was
didn't
quite
think.
unfortunate.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think it was actually necessary, especially while he was there, because there was no room. I didn't know he would stay up to more than 90 minutes. That was our agreement. He had to go to the airport and pick up somebody, and just I think there was a delay. That was why he stayed this additional 20 minutes. So I didn't think about bringing more people in. It makes no sense. You bring people in and they won't get a chance to ask a question, and they'll feel angrier than before. So I'm sorry about that. But it was
Rudolph,
hold on,
next time you have
hold
to
on, Henry, hold on. Let me
you almost tricked me out from this program. That was not fair.
Henry, hold on. Let me finish. So it helps also, and I know it's difficult. I've been in your position, being just a panelist, to think about others when you get a chance to ask a question. When I look at 10 people here and we have 20 minutes, and I say we have 20 minutes, if you come out and take 3 minutes, 4 minutes to ask a question, you make it impossible for the guest to answer the question, and we get to other people. It makes me angry that you don't think about other people.
I want Nigeria now. They're all Nigerians. That's how they behave.
It makes me angry. I know you feel that your own is the most important question. There's nobody here, even if it's Tinubu, there's no question you will ask Tinubu that will fix Nigeria. So you don't need to ask him 10 questions because he's here and make it serve the country. So take it easy and he will come back. These people will come back. If I bring anybody here once, they will come back. But they won't come back if the way sometimes we approach the questioning as if it's the end of the world. And this is today we have to resolve this issue, the Nigerian issue. And you are the one that will answer the question, the ultimate question. Some of these people, we don't have anybody here I've not had a guest here who has the power, political power, to even do anything. We're exchanging ideas, and that's how I approach some of these people. If can I see you? Hold on, Kenny, I see you. If we get someone like, let's say, the governor of Anambra State, which I'm working on, if we get someone like that here, and you are saying, okay, this is Odapo, this is what is going on there, you have to give us answer today. I understand that. But when you have people who are just going to suggest things, we're sharing ideas, we're having conversations. We don't have opinion. These are not policymakers. I don't think we've had any policymaker here. We want to help mold them. Maybe one day they get to that position. They will remember what we said, the ideas we suggested. But the approach is as if that we are talking to somebody who is actually in their position, making that decision. It's not. These people are not. I've never said to anybody here, don't ask any question to any guest. If I have, anybody should tell me. But what I expect is that when they come, we understand that these are our guests. We are not interrogating them. And I've said it many times here. There is no reason why, there's a reason why RIs and channels that are not opening their channels and say, come and ask questions to our guests. They can do it. They know it's interactive, but they're not doing it. All right. Let me hear your feedback.
Rudolph, you have the right to.
Hold on.
No, you have the right to stop people if they are
something very
talking too
important.
long.
Hold on,
You have right. Why you don't do it?
Yeah, I have something very important. I think so far.
Can I hold on? Henry,
Yeah.
I know you guys will speak. Everybody here will speak. So why don't we start the way we start? Let me hear from people who didn't get a chance to speak first.
No, mine is in line with what you just said now. It's different from what
I know. I'll get to you. Are you going somewhere? I'll get to you.
Yes, actually.
No, not true.
Everybody will say they are going somewhere.
Start from where you start from.
We have two people. We have two people. Righteous Man and John Abba, and then I'll get to people who had a chance to talk to our guests. Righteous man, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening,
Yeah.
Dr. Rudolph and the panelists. Yeah, I lost the opportunity to have asked Sowore some important and vital questions. I ran out of data before I could get data back. The first stanza had gone, so that's just it. I had wanted to ask some very, very vital questions. The picture he took with Nnamdi Kanu in New York, when Nnamdi Kanu was putting on a beret, that picture speaks volume. The way and the manner he was looking at Nnamdi Kanu on that, if you look at that picture very well, it speaks volume. So I wanted to ask him to know why he was focusing on Nnamdi Kanu that way. That was when they met at New York. Nnamdi Kanu was putting on the orange beret.
Yeah,
that's number one. Number two, why did he fight against Jonathan? He fought against Jonathan tooth and nail, and during this period now, we are seeing or hearing less of his Sahara reporters. Sahara reporters was used to blackmail Jonathan's regime. At least I am in Nigeria when it was happening, and up to today, some of us are wondering, that Sahara reporters that were everywhere, what happened to that Sahara reporters today, that they are not speaking ill or revealing what is going on presently in Nigeria today? So that were two important questions I wanted to ask him. And finally, the diamond, is it, what do they call it? Brazier of Diziana that Sahara reporters showed to the world. Where is that diamond brazier? Because all these things are the things that makes people feel bad. And when you pick up some individuals and you try to rubbish their character and identity, at the end of the day, you present yourself as a saint. And thereabout, that's just the three questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, righteous man. I promise you, before he goes back to Nigeria, I will get him to come back here. On the issue of the first one you talked about, Sowore and Nnamdi Kanu, I was there when they met in New York. That was, I think it was the first time too I was meeting Nnamdi Kanu physically, I think. Oh, no, maybe not. But anyway, so I will look at the picture again and see what you mean by the way he was looking at him. But I think I felt myself looking at two of them. I felt that should I say this here? It will be in my memoir. All right, let's go to John Abba. John Abba, go ahead.
Dr. Rudy and the fellow brothers, good afternoon. You succeeded in kicking him out of my room to the garage now, so I have to be here to join you. I wanted to ask, so of course I follow from the beginning to the end. I wanted to enter, but it's not so much of asking him of any political question. Rather, I wanted to ask him why the fake native doctor had to wear a Doma tie. I wanted to ask him that one. So if that one have more power than the pastors and all of that, so I can be wearing it every day.
All right, thank you, Janaba. Okay, let's get to everybody else. I can see someone. I speak the truth. I'll bring you up, but let's go to Henry first, and then I'll come to you, Kene. Henry, go ahead. Unmute yourself, Henry.
What should I talk about? About the Sowore?
No,
Bros, you know you're supposed to come to the people that didn't speak.
Oh, sorry, Jagan.
This is what you said before.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
I was waiting.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know. Jagan, I forgot that you didn't.
So I step back.
So why not go this way then?
No,
Go this way then.
Okay, let me
Start
hear
from
Jagan Jagan first, and then I will then decide where to go. Go ahead, Jagan.
Thank you, Rudolph. It was a bit of a shame that I didn't get to come on. I wanted to embarrass Tim, who calls Sowore with a Yoruba name and Ijo somebody, when I know he's an Ilaje man from Yoruba land, Omo. So I wanted to put that in just to jab Tim in the chin, make him know where I go on. Secondly, I actually wanted to have him paint a picture of his vision for what Nigeria would look like under him. I really wanted him to paint that picture for me. No matter the struggle that he has to go through to become the president of Nigeria, if he reaches that point, what does Nigeria look like with an 8-year presidency that he would have? Because I'm not clear on any Nigerian leader. They do not give me any picture of the future. And so I don't say he doesn't have it. I believe he does. I actually liked his personality and his persona on today's program. And he said he will come on as a panelist. And really and truly, I would like to have him as a panelist amongst us. He seemed very affable, very communal, and able to handle, us, because we're ruffians here, as you know. And I believe he can be part of the ruffle that we produce here. So I would have liked to have entertained him that way. But I felt, good on you. Again, obviously, you know him very well. But I can tell, obviously, it's not easy to bring somebody like him on. So again, kudos to you. I'm not sure if you are watching regularly the programs. I know they can be quite exhaustive and very long. But I must say, the program has continued to become better and better since you've been back. We've been having quite good. I think yesterday's program with 4 parts, he broke it down into about 3 or 4 different programs, and I viewed a 3-hour one today, which I don't normally do, view the programs again and again, but I viewed yesterday's, and I saw the editing and how you're trying to make sure you can get a 3-hour slot, 2-hour slot, and push it out there. And I think that's very good for us being able to grow our numbers. So I again congratulate the organizers and the platform in itself. That's what I wanted to say.
All right, thank you. I just have to also say, Diego, I do watch you some evenings when I'm free to look at what's going on, and I think I noticed that everybody is doing a lot. We're all doing a lot better to have a very healthy and conversation that people can go back and watch. That's really our goal, and I believe that in all of you and everybody that we can do it, despite what people think at the beginning. I thought that what was going on was there was time that we need to understand each other and everything. And I think we're getting there. Thank you, Jagan. Let's go to Kenneth. Kenneth, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Demages. I think so far, from the time I joined this platform, we've had good and respectful guests. And also, I believe strongly that our panelists here have been behaving respectful to our guests here. But last time we had one guest from Nigeria, one Edo State AAC candidate. I noticed that if you are not speaking for AAC, he was being very condescending and very disrespectful. I, for one, I was a victim. Just that I decided to let it slide because I don't want to challenge him. I decided to let it slide. And today again, we have a candidate that maybe, this is my own opinion, you are trying to protect him. And I think sometimes we should give the panelists time to question some lies. Because if we don't do that, we let it slide and it becomes true. When lies get repeated, it becomes a true, and people begin to accept that. And this brings me to our guest today. When he was asking me to move to Anambra State, I wanted to let him know that I was in Anambra State when P2B was the governor of Anambra State, and Anambra State was very safe. Matter of fact, Anambra was one of the safest states in Anambra State then. But I had wanted to let him know that the security architecture in Anambra, in Nigeria, is being controlled by the federal government, both the police and the army. So in as much as we are trying to secure our state, the federal government is busy messing it up. So I would have wanted to educate him that, no, I was in Anambra State when P2P was the governor and Anambra was safe. And I wanted to ask him a question. He kept denying the fact that he did not claim that he was a backbone upon which Buhari emerged into office. That was a lie. The video was everywhere. Even if he did not campaign for Buhari, because I've not seen where he was campaigning for Buhari, but I've seen where he was going against Goodluck Jonathan's regime then. And I've also saw where he was interviewed. And in that interview, he claimed that he and his boys, or the youth of Nigeria, or Nigerian youth, brought Buhari into power. The video is everywhere, so he should keep denying that fact. What I expected Sowore to do is stop listening to all these praise singers, people like Dr. Shidi and their and Omori. They're just not telling this guy the truth. He should apologize for claiming that he brought Buhari into office. The video is everywhere for everyone to see. He should either apologize for making such claim on a TV interview or radio interview, or just forget about it. So like people like me, I would take him to be a liar, and I will never support him because of that. The day he denied that fact was the day I started looking into his, campaign strategies. And I also bumped into where this guy called P2B a criminal. I was like, hold on. Criminal, what has he stole? Has he ever been found wanting of any criminal charges? So why would you call him a criminal? That was the day my respect for him went down. So sometimes we should be allowed to question these people when they are spewing something that are not making sense. It makes us look as if we, the panelists, asking them questions, we're just making things up or being stupid.
All right. Thank you, Kenneth. Like I said before, you are allowed to ask the guests any question you want to. But what I'm not encouraging is for one person to go back and forth with the guests. That's not the purpose of this. Everybody here can come up with 10 questions. And when we do that, then it's of no use what we are trying to achieve. So that's the point. Find your best question. You don't have to, I don't ask anybody, what do you want to ask? And on radio, they ask you, what do you want to say before they let you in? I don't. Say whatever you want to say. Ask any question you want to ask, but find one. Find the best. It cannot be that you go and be exchanging words with the guests as if that's the purpose of what we're doing. All right.
Rudy, please. I know I don't want to. It's for the sake of all of us listening, and just like one of the panelists just said, when people watch from home, I don't think it's right that Sowore is not here, and then you at last all those kind of talk, whether the video is there. Next time, I think it's to make your case the same way.
I was not given the chance to ask those questions. Please stop playing that card, please.
Next time,
I was not given the chance to ask him those questions. Stop playing that card. After all, we are making a review. We are making a recap. After all, we are making a recap here. Stop doing that. Don't play that card on me.
Listen,
can I hold on?
Respect yourself. Don't play that card on me, please.
All right,
please,
guys.
I beg you.
Guys, hold on. Can I hold on? One other thing I need to say is that when I bring anybody here, these are people in my world, the way I think about it. These are people who can take questions. There are other people I could bring here who can deal with anything that can be thrown at them. So that's why I don't worry about what question anybody is asking. And I tell them to. People will come and ask you questions. Anything they ask you is up to you, the way you want to answer. So there's no restriction. There won't ever be any restriction on what you ask anybody. Also, the after what we do now. Let me just reveal this to you guys. What we do now, they also come back and watch some of the guests we've had. They tell me about what they watched after the show when we are reviewing this part. It's good for them to hear, and it's also good for the production. So, for instance, let's say Kene has an important, and Kene, and let me maybe use the opportunity to mention this here. Maybe Kene has an important question that he felt that because he will have only one chance to ask a question. When we announce that this is the guest coming, you can send us videos and say this, like what Pansat was trying to do. It's not when we are live on air, Pansat will send a video and say, play this video before my question. We can't do that. We've announced this for more than a week. If you have important question, you feel that maybe you won't have time to ask that question, you can send it to us. We'll review it and decide, whether we can ask that question and why we should ask that question. And you can, but you can't just come on air and want us to play videos because you want to ask a question. It's not how it's done. We take a lot of privileges here. Just think about it. If they open up CNN or whatever channel and say, come and ask a question, you try to say, do all these things we do here. It's not possible.
Did Pansat ask you to play a video?
Say it again.
Did Pansat ask you to play a video?
Yeah, he sent a video and he was trying to say we should play that, but there was I have to watch it before I play. I can't play a video. I don't know what it is.
Oh, because that was what I actually was going to speak about. Because I was going to say, because both of us talked for hours till early this morning, and I knew where he was coming from. So I thought even though Sowore answered the question, if he was a communist or a socialist or a capitalist, I think Pansat actually did have very, very good questions. And I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job, but Pansat also hasn't done himself any favors in the past, the way he blows up and goes berserk sometimes. So, but I think it would have been better and imperative, and again, like I said, because of the past, if you had allowed him ask the questions, because I think he had very good points which he wanted to ask, which was, as much as I like Sowore, I think Pansat would have been an added benefit to the show, because he was trying to hold his feet to the fire and ask him questions instead of just basically kissing his backside like most of the people that came on did. So again, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your show, but I'm saying I think it would have been a little better if he had been allowed to just proceed. But I didn't even know he asked that a video should be played.
All right, thank you. So, James. Oh, okay. Let me go that way. Okay.
Let me just address one thing real quick. So, part of the reason why we opened the Iroko Post TV was because of the danger of the original channel getting blocked. And so, when you send videos, first of all, we have to go to them, make sure there's no copyright issues. So, if you send stuff last minute, chances of it getting played is almost zero.
Yeah. Also, I see a lot of people say that I was protecting the guest. I wish I will. What I only ask for is respect, and it's not just about one guest. Sowore was not the first person that most people have taken up on in a way that I think it shouldn't. It's no need for that. But everybody who comes here is our guest. It's a guest, and I expect that we should treat that person as a guest. I'm not saying don't ask any difficult question. I didn't talk to him before he came on air. We didn't talk. I was thinking that I told him 12:30, and 12:30 I didn't see him. I started the show. Then he sent me a message. But typical guests, I talked to them ahead of time, and we talked about. There's no discussion of topics or nothing. He didn't care. And there are people like that. So, all right, James, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I would just want to say. I asked him a question.
Sorry, Mr. James, don't be offended. Exactly what order exactly are we going? I'm just asking for clarification because we've been all over the place. I'm trying to be an orderly person, but now you're pushing me here.
You don't know where to start from.
Okay. Sometimes.
Just like Tinubu don't know to. Just like
Tinubu
now.
Stop that, man.
Please. Sometimes give whoever is moderator benefit of the doubt. They are not totally crazy. I wanted to touch on people who have not asked questions. And when I saw I speak the truth, I remember that he was in when the guest was here. I had to bring him up. There are some things we do. It makes this.
Yeah, but Mr. James asked question now. I thought that after that,
I'm coming this way. I'm coming. The fact that
I'm just asking. I'm not here to
You should just go. Anyway, James, go ahead. Go ahead, James.
I asked him a question pertaining to the dwindling educational standards in Nigeria because from the look of things, whenever we meet here, we seem not to be too interested in I mean, about the appalling conditions of what we call Nigerian universities. If our problems in Nigeria will ever be solved, the universities are the factories where we produce the brains to tackle the problems. But from the look of things, the situation is getting more deplorable every day. This is why I asked him the question about professors becoming, what's it called, returning officers during general elections. It is dehumanizing. I mean, Nigerian professors should think above that level. In this country where I live here, to be called a professor, if I was you are called a professor, there are certain things you don't do. I've seen professors here attending workshops and seminars. They give them money for transportation to take them back home. They turn it down. Instead, they donate it to charity, send it to a secondary school or a primary school to help a needy student. These are things they do here in Little Gambia. But I don't know what is becoming of Nigeria. This is why I've lost confidence in the country altogether, because I don't see the solutions to our problems coming out of the present Nigerian universities. If we Nigerians are to solve this problem, it is those who have already passed out many years ago that will come up with solutions, not modern university graduates. So I think we should be interested in what is going on with our educational system, particularly history as a subject. It's not properly handled both at university and secondary school levels. That is what I have to say. Thank you so much indeed. It's already night in the Gambia. You can see my background. I'm inside the classroom at the moment. It's as black as charcoal. So kindly permit me to sign out, if you don't mind. I can't hear you.
Thank you, Mr. James. Thank you so much. We appreciate
Sorry,
it.
before Mr. James goes, can I say something to what he said, if you permit me?
Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I would like to hear. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. James, I understand where you're coming from with the issue of professors not, let me use the word denigrating themselves to certain kinds of performances. But I think it was a huge respect the professors were given back in Nigeria when they were thrust into managing election. Literally, the message to them was, because of the corrupt system and the issues of election rigging, we believe that you as professors should be one of those to help us avoid this rigging. Unfortunately, the professors haven't done themselves any respect because they have become the architects of the rigging process now. They collect from the highest bidder. They, shuffle results and all those things. So really, there could have been a good thing that our professors be the ones from the citadel of learning as people who are prime, respectable persons to help us manage a process that was, riddled with corruption. But unfortunately, they have failed. So I wouldn't say it was wrong. I just feel they have not lived up to the billing of respect that was entrusted on them. That's just my perspective.
All right.
Thank you for your observation. Thank you so much.
All right. So, Chim, now your review, your own personal review.
Okay, thank you, Rudolph. You see,
I'm not get to ask questions.
So I know lots of when elections are involved and politics comes to play, the roles people play becomes very touchy. As human beings, if somebody supports a group or seemingly looks like they have played a role in helping a group you don't like come to power, we're very unforgiving. I've said this over and over. I hear people tell me that, oh, this election cycle is being divisive. And I laugh. I say, what do you mean by elections? This election cycle is being divisive. By the fact that you have thrown a competition and is election seeking power, there will be divisiveness. What we need to learn is that after the election, how do we say, okay, it's like soccer. I mean, my team Chelsea just played today. We lost 2-1 to Liverpool. I should be able to go and sit down with a Liverpool fan, analyze the game, and drink beer with him, and we move on. And then better luck next time to my team. That is what elections should be. That is what it used to be when I started growing up watching the American elections and the British elections. You will see a Mitt Romney lose an election, and he will say, even though he's bitter in his heart that he lost, he will call Obama, not because Obama is his friend. He will congratulate Obama, and he will say, better luck next time. And life moves on. But you see, the Nigerian politics has never, ever gotten to that level. It has never, ever gotten to that level. Maybe because of the quality of human beings, because I've come to learn that, you see, our nature is a function of our environment. And by nature, Nigerians in the environment, we want to always win. We don't know what it is to lose and say congratulations to the other person and let it go. And why I'm bringing this up is this. Where is it wrong? How is it wrong for a citizen to write about a political party or a sitting government and say this government is not doing well and call out all their ills? And so be it. If what you were doing leads to the downfall of that government, if they don't learn from it, and then another party takes advantage of that situation and wins the election, how is it my fault that the new party that comes in begins to replicate the thing that I wrote about that made the other party leave? So I think Nigerians need to get matured. I've been saying it here. We need to grow up as a people. Grow up. He played a role as a Nigerian. Incidentally, it's like I remember when the same Jonathan came to office. Before he came to office, you remember the word cabal. To me, I started hearing that word cabal under Yar'Adua's government when Yar'Adua was sick, when we didn't know where Yar'Adua was. All those arguments of where's our president and all those things. And we started hearing that his cabal was doing this, how they shut down the airport in the middle of the night to bring him back, smuggle him in, how some bishops went overnight to see him. We still remember all these things. But there was a group that came and said power should be transited to the sitting vice president. That group was called Save Nigeria. Remember them? Now they fought and insisted that the guy who was VP should be made president. Incidentally, the prime mover of that movement eventually joined APC, and people are criminalizing him today. So Nigerians need to realize that unless we are looking for a monarchy where one person is our lord and master, and then once he becomes lord and master, that's what he is. But if we're going to have this, I belong to Labour Party, I belong to PDP, it's a contest. And once there's a contest, once one person wins, let's move on. Even if that person who won, like we know, I don't want to say it, I don't want to start opening old doors, you say he rigged the election. But for as long as the system now says they are regularizing that and say this person has won, let's move on. Our job now becomes to hold that new leadership accountable to make sure that they serve the people. Whether it is PDP in office, hold them accountable. If it's Labour in office, hold them accountable. If it's APC in office, hold them accountable. Let's stop holding grudges against citizens of a nation who play their civic responsibilities to ensure we have good governance. You understand what I'm saying? So where I'm going to is with all this whole, that's why I've been keeping it. There are people who have been invited to this program. If I call, I say, Rudolph, that guy that was writing and using all his satire to push Jonathan out. But I've never told you this before. In fact, the first day I wanted to say it was the day Ngozika was here telling me she holds a grudge. And I wanted to tell her, do you hold a grudge against Rudolph? She did not. I was going to say, you don't. Rudolph was writing things that pulled Jonathan government down. So why are you working for him? But so, just in summary, my point is this. I think he, as a Nigerian, he has his right to support whoever he wants to support. We may not like it, but we should be able to, at the end of it all, hold each other accountable. That is what we're supposed to do, not holding silly grudges that makes no difference. That's my point. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. I didn't need to respond to that because there was no need. Henry, I think you spoke. Is it or no?
Yeah,
I didn't get to ask
I
questions.
just spoke not so long, not so much like that, because you said 1 minute. I didn't take much time like other people did.
All right, take
So,
2 more minutes.
Okay, what I wanted to say Sowore was always fighting for Nigeria for a very long time right now. for better Nigeria. But if you look at the period of time of Jonathan time, Buhari time, and Tinubu time, you still don't have no plan to make things work. Every time, I don't want to support this thing because they are criminals, because this one is among the elites or whatever. Okay, how long going to be waiting for the right time to come? Think Tinubu going to be 8 years again? They come new party, new president. He's still going to be out there still complaining. What is his strategy? What is his plan? He could not. He don't put any plan down. We will say, okay, now I give Tinubu this 4 years. Let's see how we're going to tackle this government and look for a strategy that will make things change in that country. Sure, don't have that plan. You don't have it because we're still going to be complaining after 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, 16 years. The same complaint. We have the movement then, the growth movement, but you say you don't want to compare, you don't want to work with what do you call it, Obi. Okay, why not move that wave that is there? Forget about this person. Make deal with this person. Say, you know what? This is how I want you to rule. For me to want to support you. They have to discuss. Forget about it's elite, no elite. Would you not say Tinubu nobody said Oshoro should be billionaire like Obi. It's a billionaire already. It's among the elites, fine. But among the elites, there's someone who also have the conscience about the better Nigeria. I know Oshoro have good conscience about Nigeria, but how are you going to win, change these things? That is the question. Because he be complaining, ruling for, fighting for this country for many years. Buhari came, Tiyota came, Tinubu is still there. How are we going to change it? That is the question. But you don't have no plan for that.
All right. Thank you.
You don't have no plan.
Henry, thank you. I have like 4 minutes left before I leave and before we end the stream. You guys know that now the format we have is 3 hours for every stream. Then we open another one. 4 fathers, we start another one after this. So let's quickly get to everybody who wants to say something, and then we will. Dominic, you want to say something, or should I?
No, I don't want anyone to blame me for favoritism. See if there's someone else who hasn't spoken.
No, I can extend it by a few minutes. You know,
move on to someone else, Rudolph.
Okay, all right. Let's go to on politics. I'll come that way. Revolution, I can see you. Ovie, go ahead. Okay. Ovie, all right. Ovie is lost. Let's go to you, Alaba. You're next.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rudolph. Although I was very mad at you for interrupting my question, because what you did there was to make Sowore misinterpret my question, and that was pretty bad. And the Nigerian factor crept into my question. My question to Sowore was about strategy, not about his personality or his character. He's a very well admired person, doing far much better than I can do behind the screen here. But because you interrupted me, he himself picked up on the question wrongly, answered it wrongly, and turned it to the Nigerian issue. So who should I form coalition with? That's the Nigerian problem. Everybody always think that the Nigerian problem will be solved by one man, one big man, who they were expecting me, some on the channel, on the platform, chat section, were expecting me to mention Obi. Some were expecting me to mention. When I say a coalition of the willing, I'm talking about people who disagree with the current state of Nigeria. It doesn't have to be someone particular. And there are people who have platforms, who have medium, who have people, who have churches, who have mosques. They have people. These are people Sowore should cooperate or coalesce with. That's what I was talking about. But everything was muddled up with you trying to rush me off my question, with him misinterpreting my question. I should name who he should align with. You should align with the people. With the people. Go door to door. Recruit platforms. Everybody comes here as if Nigerian problem is insolvable. We are the only ones on earth that have a problem that nobody can solve. We come here and speak big grammar, big English, criticize, condemn, lament every day. Our situation got worse.
Almost 30 years now, we've been in exile from our homeland country. Yet we can't think outside the box for a meaningful solution. And the likes of Tinubu are winning every day. By the way, Tinubu is not Nigerians' problem. It's just a symptom of the Nigerian problem. People would rather argue about my teeth is better than yours. Sowore kicked out Jonathan. Jonathan didn't even consider stealing as corruption. Why shouldn't he be kicked out? Then they want to argue about stupid stuff like educated illiterate. And here we are, people who cannot solve our problem. Well, Alaba, if you know so much, why don't you go there and start your own, they will say. Why don't you go do this and do that? Let us think. That's the point of conversation. So that if Sowore is not thinking of forming coalition, let him start thinking about it. It's not necessarily with the likes of Obi, because I don't consider Obi a man with a spine. It's a spineless man. Any man that can praise go on. It's a completely spineless idiot. You understand? But what I'm saying is that as a people, there are more of us. There are more of us that would still want the better for that country. We have just not connected the dots. And if you're partaking in their game, with their rules of engagement, you are endorsing them. So if this is what Sowore is doing, that was what my question was targeted to. I was interrupted. He didn't get the question. The question was misconstrued. The whole thing became the Nigerian thing. A total disaster.
All right.
I got to say.
Sorry, Laba, if that was what happened, but let me explain this. This is why it happened. So there are two formats that we're handling here. Sometimes we forget that when you are talking to the panel this way, I give you 5 minutes or 3 minutes, so you can talk. But when we say ask a question, some of you feel it's important to give a background, as if the person you are talking to is not a Nigerian. These people are on the ground. You don't need to give me a background that Jonathan did this, that Tinubu did this. They know these things. Ask the question.
Too much.
There wouldn't have been any need for me to stop. The only reason why I stopped you was you were going over without a question. So that's what I want everybody to bear in mind. Think about your best question. You cannot ask all the questions. I have papers here. There are over 50 questions for Sowore. I didn't even look at them. I just talked to him because when he told me he was going to stay for 90 minutes and I have like 45 minutes, I can't go to the questions. I just said, let's have a conversation. So there are times you have to forget about all those questions you think would be the big one that will give us the answer we've been waiting for. No. So that's the problem. It's not about anybody want to derail you or anything, you know. So when I said mention one name, I was thinking that if you I put myself in your position, you could have said Dele Faro to me. There are many names you could have mentioned, but the fact that you couldn't mention a name made it look like, for me, if I'm...
Because my question was not about a person.
Calm down.
It was about a coalition of the people.
Why are you shouting?
I'm not shouting, Jagun. Let me speak my mind.
You are shouting.
Leave me alone, Jagun. Let me speak.
I'm not leaving you alone. You're shouting. Why?
I'm not shouting. Please, Jagun.
Don't shout.
I'm not shouting. I'm talking.
I'm telling you, you're shouting.
Leave me alone.
I'm not going to do that.
I'm talking about the coalition.
Leave me alone.
Why does
shouting? Why are you shouting?
All right. Please.
Always raising your voice. Why? Because you're more important than anyone else.
Please, guys. I thought we had gone beyond this now. So
no, we haven't, because there's people like him around.
Okay, Alaba, give him 1 minute.
All right. Okay, so that's it. I just wanted to bring up the issue of background information. Most people think it's necessary. And there's nobody we've had here who is not informed about Nigeria. If we have someone like an American and we're talking about Nigeria and you feel that this person may not know that Shagari was president, then you have to go back and tell these stories. Go straight to the question. And sometimes the right answers you're looking for will come up when you go straight and say, like the guy that said, I wanted restructuring. I think it was AY. What do you think about restructuring? How do you want? That was effective. Even the answer he gave, you don't need to remind him that Jonathan tried conference and this person tried conference, just to ask a question about restructuring, you know? All right. Thank you.
Before you move on, I beg your pardon, Rudolph. Alaba, I would want you to tell me what you think about what Rudolph has just said. Does it make sense to you?
Rudolph is saying that we shouldn't give a background. That's why questions get misinterpreted.
No, that's wrong.
Background.
No,
listen to me. when you give a thorough background of where you're going, the recipient understand your perspective. He doesn't take it as an attack on his person. Sowore took my question as an attack on his person, which was not my intention.
Okay, fair enough. Can I come back to you now? Just to say this. You know, right now there are 10 of us on here, 10 of us. And somebody like you or anybody else would want to basically collect all information before asking a simple question. What Rudolph is saying, look, there are many of us here. Be fair. Be fair in yourself.
I understand.
And know that, wait, I waited for you. I waited for you. Be fair in what you are doing. You can't come here and spend 10 minutes to ask a question because you feel that you're the most important.
What is what doing is what doing well. I would rather ask a better
okay, don't understand. Fair enough, don't understand. Keep your bullshit. Don't understand. It's okay.
All right. So we're out of time. I have to hand over.
Please let me answer.
Dr. David is running.
We have to hand over to forefathers at the other stream. I will get it and give you the link. I want to hear from who is next. Revolution.
It's me, Doctor. I was next after Alaba. Before you go, please, if it's possible.
Who is speaking? I can't see the mouth. Oh, yeah, Dan. Revolution. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, if they say who won this, if there's a prize today, I was the one who won because I was straight to my point. I didn't even spend up the minute.
No, that's he was. He just went directly to.
Yeah, because I understand the game. You have to respect what you say. But anyway, what I just want to say for those who say, what is Sowore's plan? It's very easy, except they don't listen to that brother. He said the plan of Nigeria for him is revolution, so that we remove these people in power, and so that if we make an election, the right winner will emerge. But with the same people, the same system on ground, no election can come and be won by the right persons. I think that is Sowore's plan. For those who are wondering, what is Sowore's plan? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Revolution. Jagan, we skip you. Or have you spoke? Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he just had
let's
shouting
Michael. Let's hear Michael. Michael, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Rudolph, I really appreciate you again putting me on the studio. So and I missed asking a question to Sowore. Like you said, I think and I appreciate this platform. That's why every platform on YouTube or any channel that I go to, this is my first time I've been able to enjoy a channel that cares about our motherland. And please, let's up our standard when we come to this studio. And Dr. Damage is doing his best to hold on to the standard. I don't think this point for us to be arguing. We are all adults. We all know the issue of Nigerians. All I want us to, when we come to these studios, let's see in the back of what is the solution. As we all stay here, all of us here, most of us are in diaspora. What are we doing together as brothers, as individuals to help Daniel? I know many of us, we don't have the answers, but I believe if we can come together as a Nigerian, we'll be able to come up with an idea and solution. Maybe our idea may not be what the other people want, but we can all I think our sentiment, believe me, we should leave our sentiment to the side. Let's just come together here as this. We appreciate Rudolph creating this channel for us in order to express ourselves, opinion, idea, and suggestion. And at the ending of the day, we create a solution, because it's just a waste of time for us coming every day here, we're talking without a solution. So that's what I want to say. Dr. Rudolph, keep up the good work, and I appreciate you. You are the best. And please keep monitoring, because whatever we do, we have to vent every possible. Like we create, like before I said before, I don't mind, let's create a where we have what do you call it? A round table that we can have. We can have the sense of solution to everything that we know we can come. And then when we have a guest coming in, through our discussion, we have a table of questions. Without us asking all the questions at one time. Probably we already have the list with Rudolph and say, oh, these are what the panelists suggested, and then we'll all be happy and go home. So please, my brothers, I appreciate you all. Let's put our sentiment to the side. Let's all work together. Wherever we are all diaspora. That country needs us, either we like it or not. No matter how small we can contribute, that country needs us, and Nigeria needs to go. And that's why I always say, God bless Nigeria, God bless America that I live. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you. I know I'll come to you, number 6, and Jefferson Fox. But before then, let me just say, please, if you can, if you haven't subscribed, please do that. That will help us subscribe to the channel and to Iroko Post TV, because we're moving to that channel from January. So please subscribe to the channel, like and share this broadcast so that other people can watch, because it's not just about us who are here. We want to make sure that the message will get to more people, and the only way it gets to them is when YouTube sees that a lot of people are liked and shared it, and it will get to other people. I thank all of you. I'll hear from Jefferson and number 6 field, and then Dominic will end it for us. I've posted the link to the next stream. Forefathers is there. All right, Jefferson, you're next.
Well, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everyone. Yeah, I really appreciate the show with Sowore. Well, I've been observing Sowore for some time now. He seems to be the man of the people and wants a good vision for Nigeria. However, I was kind of concerned about so many things. You know, when you want to change a system, you might have a very good personality, but one thing you need to understand is that to penetrate a society like Nigeria, you cannot think, oh, you cannot work with anybody. You must work with people. You have to start from somewhere. You understand? You know, because as it is now, the crop of leaders, majority are corrupt. But again, you can always try to play the fiddle, not as if you try to give in, but work with the people and see how you can penetrate and undo what has been done. Because even if you say you want to operate alone, how do you want to operate alone? You know, most times we will just have to like redefine our strategies, you know. And then there was, according to what Kene said, to concerning Obi, I'm not because of whether I support Obi or not. I feel it's unfair to compare a state like Anambra State with Lagos State, which had so much support with the federal government. If anybody is from the Southeast and knows what the kind of policy that was happening in Anambra State, you know that guy did a very good job, because he knew the kind of cartel he faced. But that's a story for now. I don't want to really go into that. You see, sometimes when we do our comparison and say, okay, can someone spend a holiday in the Southeast? It's a very foolish assumption. It's very foolish. I'm sorry to say this, because it's not as if, because within the Southeast, at least the people, even with less federal government support, are even trying to make the place habitable and trying to, even though it's not 100%. But like I said, I'm not here to talk about that now. What I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that you must create a strategy. You cannot say this one is bad, this one is good. Nobody is a saint. Nobody is a saint. We're all human beings. Even within our own sphere, we lie, we do. Look, as far as we are human beings, first of all, we have all manner of flaws. But how we can work it out matters. And you are right, we have been talking about the same thing over and over again. I think it's right time we need to strategize bring a new roadmap on how we can achieve this. So, and we need to understand too, that even when we are creating this strategy, we need to find a way to make sure that our people moves above bribery, because that is where this whole thing is starting, because it's more, everything is subject to who can be induced, and it's a very serious problem. If we can work above stomach infrastructure, I think that's a good starting point. So let me just stop there for now. That's just my own view.
All right, thank you, Jefferson. Number 6 failed. 2 minutes.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. B. And it was a good show indeed. All All thanks to the young man Sowore doing a great job. But now, for me, what my take home is that Sowore has tried to sell himself, the second time, because I think this is the second time he's coming to the show, to be the best possible solution to Nigerians' challenges. But it's the second time he has failed. He wasn't able to sell himself. I mean, to me personally, because out of all the questions, the two very relevant questions that were asked were from Kene and the one Mr. Alaba was trying to ask. The way he was trying to phrase his question, and but the way he answered Kene's question, which was the most critical question that that was asked him in this whole session. Asking about track record, and I mean, in the process of choosing a leader, track record is very important. That's why they talk about the experiences. Though there are exceptions to the rule, but we're not talking exceptions. We're talking about when you want to become a leader. So what is your track record? And he wasn't able to answer that question. Obviously, he doesn't have any. No, let me not say he doesn't have any track. He's not. He hasn't prepared himself. I see a young man who is very brave, but I mean, that won't cut it. So like, what is he doing right now? What is he doing right now? If I'm to hire him, what are you doing right now? You can't just tell me you have been fighting for Nigeria. That's not a track record. You are fighting. You have just been fighting for Nigeria. So I don't know if you have a team. He needs to put a team together. If he takes himself serious, if he needs to put a team together, and you have to answer questions, just like in an interview. If you don't answer questions, you don't get the job. You might be the best candidate, but if you don't answer the questions, you're not going to get the job. So what's his track record? He has to put it out there. What is he doing now? Now as we're talking, what is he doing? Is he running a business? We know Sahara, but Sahara is kind of online, it's not. What are you doing? What's your track record? You have to put it out there. You have to sell yourself. Beside platitude, beside all the fancy things that you want to talk about, idealism won't work. It will work to an extent, but when like people be now, like I am supporting people be, of course, because when you listen to the character he has shown, like when Aisha Yusuf was interviewed, she talked about they setting up a procedure, a rule, and even P2B can never go against that rule. That you see somebody who is very, who is willing to learn all the time, who's willing to stay, who's willing to listen to other people, take advice, shift his position as he moves on. But I see a young man who's just stuck in his position. He's unable to change. He's unable to listen to anybody. So those are those are the major points I saw. He hasn't sold himself, and this is the second time he has come here, and the second time he has failed to impress me. As being a fired leader. And another thing is that what's your place in history? Idealism is good. You have to identify your place in history. Are you the John the Baptist? Know that you like me. I used to come here. I say I don't know how to talk. I'm not able to. Once in a while I come in. I give space to other people that I know that base, oratory that articulate very well. I know my place. But I can function in other departments, in other areas. So what's his place? It might be the John the Baptist. So he has to identify his place in history. It's very, very important also. So that's my point. Thank you.
Number 6, thank you so much. Dominic, and then forefathers will round it up.
Yeah. I know I haven't been here in a while, but mostly just because I've been working a lot on the weekends. But there's a lot I'm tempted to address just because I'm a big fan of Sowore, but I will always say this: while I respect someone's political leanings, at the end of the day, if I feel like someone's not doing something very well, I always call them out, call the person out. I think blind followership is something that is very, very dangerous. I may not like how Sowore addressed, his Dimiano when it comes to certain political issues, but I can still support him because I feel like overall, he represents more of what I want, right? I don't have to, he doesn't have to be 100% of what I think I want in a leader. But if he's 70, 80% compared to some other people, I may say, okay, I may throw my hat in for this candidate. I don't think there's been any election, at least ones I've seen in the US and Nigeria, where I would say there's been a candidate that qualifies 100% for what I want. But at the end of the day, when you're offered certain choices, it's either you decide to not use your franchise and vote, or you choose, for lack of a better word, the best out of everyone else and decide to vote for them. At the end of the day, sure, when it comes to Peter Obi and Sowore, one thing that I always laugh about in my head is you have to remember he and Obi are, as far as I'm concerned, last two elections are competitors. So having that expectation that he would praise Peter Obi is a waste of time. One, two, they have different ways of looking at politics. What I see in Obi, and I'm not saying this as an insult, is he's an establishment politician where he reads the times and says, okay, for me to be able to get into power, I need to work with certain people. I need to not insult certain people. I need to be able to play some level of diplomacy. If you notice, Sowore is not that kind of politician. So expecting a square to fit into a circle is a waste of time. So at the end of the day, it's either you like Showore's way of handling politics and stop trying to fit him into a space that he has not been for the last 30, 40 years, or you support Obi and the way he runs things. Like, Obi would go and hang out with someone like Obasanjo, someone like Atiku, someone like
IBB,
which Sowore will be like vehemently against. So expecting him to work with Obi, I think sometimes it's almost like an El Dorado. Certain expectations that people put up, and I'm like, if you know Sowore very well, like he would never do that. So I think this blind hope is something that I think for certain people, all it's just going to do is frustrate you. They are totally different kind of politicians. And then at the end of the day, when I notice this a lot, Nigerians always talk about, I want someone with experience, someone with experience. But if you look at Nigeria's history, how much experience did the people who initially ruled Nigeria have?
Coup plotting.
Exactly. The ones that have ruled in the last 30, 40 years, what experience have they had? They've always brought in more corruption than there was. The ones who have run as governors, what have they done? Look at the likes of, what's his name? The one that the FCC is chasing around in
Bello.
State. Exactly. So the prerequisite for leadership is passion and willingness to sacrifice. Those are the two basic foundations. Whatever some additional stuff someone else has done, it's up to you to say, okay, based on what this person has done, this is what I want. This is why I want to vote for them. If you look Sowore for the last at least 4 or 5 years, most of what he's done through is, if he said he didn't collect American citizenship, which a lot of Nigerians will call crazy, but obviously if he had, he can't run for Nigerian president. So he's been in America for a while. He's not accepted American citizenship. Secondly, he keeps shuttling to Nigeria and keeps facing danger to his life. So I don't know what other prerequisite you would want in someone who is persistently trying to change things. At the end of the day, he didn't come here to campaign. He came here to offer his opinions on, this is how Nigeria is, and this is what I think should happen. It is your choice whether or not you feel this guy is the leader for you or not. And the last thing I wanted to address is, I think people forget this. This platform has been run by Rudolph Nupe for a very long time. And, I say this with utmost respect, because I'm probably the youngest person who's here. This platform being on here is a privilege and not a right. And I can imagine the amount of emotional damage Rudolph probably goes through every day trying to run a program like this, where you see horrible comments, or you see people express horrible opinions, or people are always thinking Rudolph is unfair, and how we handle those things. Every once in a while, text Rudolph if you have his personal number, or just check in with him. Are you doing okay? He's doing a lot to.
But Rudolph is unfair now.
Sacrifice a lot of his peace to be on this show. Look at him dressed up for hours. His wife is at home. I visited him before, and he's here sitting on the dining table running this show for hours. And people come on here sometimes and they cause disruption. Sometimes if you know some of the other panelists here, I know some of the panelists and some of their temperaments, don't go poking people, right? If you want to ensure the platform is running well, don't go poking people. So at the end of the day, this program has been run by Rudolph for us, and it is left for us to behave in a way that will keep this program going. But some of the behaviors I see on sometimes when I want to join, I'm like, I'll just sit in the background because I just don't want to deal with certain personalities and people's temperaments. And the same people keep offending over and over. It's like you have to say something ad nauseum. So I just get tired sometimes. I just say that, sit in the background. So I don't know how you do it, Rudolph, but props to you. You go through a lot.
He
And
likes it now.
I don't know how your wife allows you to do this. But
Dominic Rudolph likes it.
Thank you. Forefathers.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Sorry, my internet is a bit funny. Thank you, Dr. Rudolph, for the hosting the show and all. And yeah, regarding the interview, what I picked up on when you mentioned to him about the president going overseas regarding the security implication, he seems to completely misunderstand what that stands for. He says if they thought there was security implication, they would not go there. He didn't get that. But that said, his demeanor seems to be a little bit more relaxed. The last time he was here, and I've seen him on other channels, he seems more wired. I would say maybe he was still still heavily traumatized from all the stuff Nigerians did to him. Today, he sounded a little bit more refined, and he's paying attention. Because even with the last comment I made, he didn't just dismiss it. He just said, "Okay, that's something is worth looking into." Um, I don't know how it works, how people communicate with him, but I think he needs to be listening to be more listening and to what people are saying. And because if you want to get to where you want to get to, you don't necessarily, you know what they are saying. They are saying they are somewhere else waiting for people to arrive at where they are. I'm not sure that is a very good approach to things, because the people that are going to get people to where you are, they are the ones that will rule. You are not the one. They are not going to wait for you. And so that approach is, for me, is a little bit problematic. He should be more proactive with Nigerians. Try to understand and get into their head. You want to govern the country. If you have an overarching vision, you feel passionately about it, get into their head. Try to understand them and win one way or the other. The idea that you are waiting for them to come to you, I don't know whether that's a good strategy to go about things. And my issue, to an extent, because he is the foremost figure, you can say, that is anti-establishment right now. And if that is all we have, it can be problematic, because it caps our ability to kind of transform the system. Because if you look, for example, the recent process that happened in Nigeria, I believe it was limited in his scope. The ambition was not there, because it's just about ending bad governance. He didn't demand for any real specifics that they can do while they are in office right now. And that, for me, I don't know. You have a long list of 14. It didn't include some critical things in Nigeria, like our refineries, security, and all those things. It didn't include all those key things in there. I had an issue with that, but that was I had only one question. So I asked him about an existential issue, and his answer to it again is what you would expect from many Nigerians. And I've been hearing this all my life. They will talk about economic issues first, but in reality is the opposite. And I hope he's listening, because when I suggested it to him, he didn't dismiss it. Because if you are to transform a nation, you need to know where you need to start. Because our leaders, our previous ones, have been trying to start with economic. We had it once. Where is it now? It's gone. We had it once. We should learn from the past and correct it, and have a vision for the future. And he is the foremost person. Personally, if he has a space where people can contribute to his ideas, I'm willing to participate, because no idea is sacred at this stage. Everybody should be questioned. No mercies. They have to stand on their own merit. And I really hope that Nigerians know that, because given where we are right now, you should suspect anybody, trust no one, because anybody could go into an office, sign with some other person to go and this is say that they pretend to be a proper opposition. That's why some people see him as a gatekeeper. You see that some people accuse him of being a gatekeeper, but it doesn't matter. All that should not matter. You should have an idea that you believe in. And I should have asked him all that questions, but it's limited. I could have asked him about his ideology. And I'm not surprised he didn't make it into office because he seems to believe in a kind of socialist ideology. There is no way Western countries will back you to become a leader in Nigeria if you believe in socialist ideology, especially when you're in their countries. You are vulnerable to them. I don't see him in Russia. I don't see him in China. You can't rule Nigeria if you have socialist ideology. And I also think that we don't even have the luxury of economic or governmental ideology even. Our own is survival. That's why I asked the question about our security, and I don't think he has reached the standard, the level that he needs to be. I hope he listens more to Nigerians. And Kene was complaining, and Alaba was complaining, Pansa was complaining. You should listen, not just dismiss what they say. Listen carefully. If you and when you listen, and you can use specific details to a kind of answer their question, and if you do your best job, that's all you can do. And he did try today. I have to give it to him. He is better today than he was before, than I've ever seen him. That's where I will leave it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I made exception to hear Janaba and Pansat. Janaba, I think you spoke. Did you know? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, in general view of everything, no, I don't know, you guys are trying for us to analyze this, what Sowore interview today. So I watch and I enjoy all the conversation. I think one of the things that the question from Alaba do not sit right is the way he started it by saying the high school or the college um, lifestyle. I think when Alaba started from that, before he went down, it's already a turn off for him. And that is one of the things I observed, that the whole conversation with that couldn't go well, because it's like we are trying to tell him he have not changed from English, or there's many ways you can interpret. And I think that, but doesn't mean that Alaba was not asking the right question. But when he started that, even anyone, as much as want to keep it cool, you will have you are demeaning someone, to me, that has have sacrificed so much, like of, then that is a turn off. And then the Pansat
Hold
thing,
on, Janaba. Janaba, are you playing music? Who is playing music?
it's not me.
Oh, okay. All right. I think it's the other stream. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
Continue.
think, all right. That is why Dr. Dominic say you should. I come here sometime to make you laugh, because I think you will pull up to sit down. So we stay for so many hours.
What did I do, Jonaba? Sorry, I lost track. What did I do?
I say I feel for your partner in crime in New York, Rudolph, for how much he go through from us, especially from his uncle Pansa. That man don't listen, but it's okay. I'm moving.
Pansat is right here.
I'm moving him to. He's coming to live in Texas. He fit in Texas. He's not fitting where he is.
All right.
He's a rough guy.
All right, Janaba, I have to go. Thank you. Pansat, you're the last person. I'll let you speak.
I appreciate that, Rudolph. I think the show was good. I was quite irritated earlier. A lot of people here have compensated for that. There were quite a lot of good panelists today. I speak the truth was that point out some things that were important, probably sacrifice the more important question they had. Alaba made a lot of contribution. Chim, premises were in order. His conclusion, I disagree with vehemently. But now let's we keep saying that now this platform It's not the proprietor or the host. It's a platform that all of us have made a contribution to once in a while. Bring ideas. Some may be controversial. I will spend time doing so. Sowore turns out to be an enigma. It's just a put. Somebody who was known before and then start drifting into an enigma where we don't know what the hell he's talking about, right? I asked him here, and this goes to Rudolph, to you and everybody else on this platform. Sowore, I asked him a pointed question as preamble to my actually asking him a question. I said, "Are you a communist or are you a capitalist?" So he says, "Look, I'm not a capitalist." That should be shocking to everybody here who thought he was. We have a constitution. You're running for president. You should, if you're not a capitalist, you should let us know what is your ideology, because you can't keep criticizing others and say, look, when they get into government, they were for a structure, but when they get into government, then you know they're not for a structure. What about him? But I know you're going to go home here, and I make my points very forcefully. So it looks like, for example, I'm a troublemaker or something. I'm being maligned, right? Let me say that Sowore has no judgment, right? When you look at Nigerians, you come here and you go to run for office or whatever you're doing, and you're talking nonsense about somebody like Peter Obi, somebody who won at least in the election 12 states, somebody who's incorruptible, somebody who's showing his mettle, somebody who's empathetic, somebody who you could reach. But let's leave that aside, because you're complicit in this, Rudolph, I have to tell you. And whatever his name, all the gang from Sahara Reporters. You take somebody like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and you write 151 articles with one neutral, right? So we leave that at that. But it shows our intelligence for somebody to come here constantly looking down on people, saying, you people, you do that here too. You say, look, you guys, when you ask a question, you shouldn't go to your point. I've seen you interview Buhari, for instance. You've interviewed anybody, somebody. You're a journalist, unlike Sowore. If Sowore run an election, you wipe the floor with him. I'll wipe the floor with him. Just because we're Nigerians, not all of us want to be president. They said to him, work with others. Now, what could be more prudent than that? You don't want him to work with others? You want him to be going out there making a fool of himself with 100 people trying to bring out a government by revolution, where you have to have a critical mass. That critical mass doesn't mean you have to agree with everybody. So I said to the guy that I was arguing with on your show that you used in your intro, I said to him, look, we cannot be coddling Sowore. That's what I said there. He cannot win his own unit. Is he good? Is he necessary? Yes, he is. But why constantly comparing himself to Peter Obi? How? Where do you compare to Peter Obi? Peter Obi is incorruptible. Showore's cause celeb, it's corruption. So if there's anybody that Sowore would work with, is Peter Obi. He talks nothing about terrorism in our country, right? Before maybe 10 years ago, I called Sowore and said, look, the only problem we have is not corruption in our country, right? We have a more dark polity, but I'm not going to try to resolve that here. But all I'm saying is that on this platform here, you're gonna have to restrict your responsibility to finance to administration, but the true and false, you're gonna have to leave to the panelists. We're not here, like I said, it's not a hierarchy, or like in that sitting order, Dr. Dominic, that come in. What I'm saying is that
yes, there's no hierarchy. I bet.
Yeah, so all of us, we love the country, like somebody said here. But today, there were quite a lot of people who made a lot of great points. Sowore needs to be redeemed. He has to listen or get the hell out.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. Stop insulting Peter Obi, because he is one of those people. He's the best Africa has produced, whether you like it or not. There's no other person in that continent. He's better than Nelson Mandela, for example. He's better than Obama. It's true. I can make the case if you give me a chance, but Thank
No,
you
no.
for your patience. And when we dumb down on you like this, is because I do know you're not a gentleman. I've seen your skits, other shows that you do. You have to understand that. I've seen you do your Dr. Dameji show, and you're quite vicious. That's just a fact,
It's
right?
very vicious.
Thank you
You
very
know,
much.
Rudolph, one last thing, Rudolph. Something that we have to maybe make a little bit more clear is, when we have guests, to what extent are we fact checking or pushing? For example, if he says P2P is a criminal, like we ask him like, why does he say? Because I've heard certain rumors about P2P and sort of know where Sowore is, what he's getting at. But the thing is, maybe next time we should push him to like actually say, if you're taking P2P as a criminal, you're infringing on someone's character, right? Or
Did he say it today?
He said some. No,
that was only campaign.
Okay.
He said, yeah. So I think maybe that was
he said a lot of things about Ngozo Konji-Iweala that are just not true, or Dora Akunyili that are just not true. There are so many. In journalism, there are standards. The allegations doesn't mean anything, right? Somebody is innocent until they're proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in the court of law. But in the court of public opinion, it's not the same standard, right? So in his case, he's been accused of treason. Now, we choose to say, look, in the court of public opinion.
While the Pansat is going over and over, are we not going to leave to another?
All right.
Pansat,
we have to go. You guys can go over to the next stream and continue the conversation. I want to thank everybody that joined me, Dr. Dominic Chim, I Speak the Truth, Jefferson Pansat, John Abba, Alaba, and everybody, especially those that donated, AY, Nana Bash, Bash, One Man, Jefferson, Oscar Blackbone, Nana Bash, General Imagery, Cerebral, General Imagery, Ejike Onyemachi, Oscar Black. I thank everybody that watched, those on the comment section. I appreciate all of you. Next Sunday, we are going to have another special guest. I haven't confirmed, but I'm looking for, there's someone I am bringing in. Hopefully it will work out. Thank you all, and I will see you on Saturday. Take care.
Nice to meet you, Rudolph.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much. My regards to the family.
All right. Take care.